I come to your bedside with nothing hurried. The house is quiet. The night is soft. A small lamp throws warm light on the pages that rest beside me. My voice will be slow. My tone will be gentle. The goal tonight is simple. Rest the body. Calm the mind. Open the heart. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a moment. Breathe out like a gentle tide. Feel weight sink into the mattress. Feel the pillow cradle the head. Allow the shoulders to drop. Let the jaw unclench. Muscles that have held stress begin to loosen. Each breath is an invitation to let go. Now turn attention inward. The world of chores and lists fades with each exhale. The busyness of the day softens. Like the sky at dusk, keep the focus light. No need to chase thoughts. Notice them. Let them pass like clouds. The heart is like a field at evening. It can accept the cool air. It can receive rain, comfort, and rest. Open it slowly. No force, just a willing softness. There is a small space in the chest where the spirit rests. It is quiet and steady. Bring your awareness there. Imagine a tiny lamp, steady and warm. It does not demand. It simply shines. Let that light spread. It warms the ribs and eases the tightness around the heart. This light is not yours to create. It is a simple gift. Allow it to touch the edges of worry. Allow it to smooth the furrows of doubt. Tonight, I will read aloud from the scriptures. The words will move like water. They will land softly. They will carry promises that hold steady, even when life feels unsteady. Expect no argument. Expect no weighty debate. Expect calm. Expect mercy and assurance. These words have rested on many nights before. They will rest with you now. Before the first verse, take a moment to name one small thing that weighs on the heart. It can be a fear. It can be a worry about tomorrow. Speak it in the quiet of the mind. A single sentence is enough. Now imagine placing that concern on a small boat. Watch it float away. The current is gentle. The boat does not sink. It moves toward a horizon where light softens everything. Trust the current for this small time. Trust that what you place there will not be swept away without care. The promises that I will speak are like anchors. They do not deny storms. They hold through them. They do not erase sorrow. They steady the hand that reaches out. Hear them as invitations, not as tests. They say you are not alone. Mercy is near. Strength comes in the quiet. Rest finds the weary. Hope lights the way when the path is hard to see. I will read slowly. Each line will have room to breathe. Each phrase will land before the next arrives. Let the rhythm of the reading match the beat of your breath. Inhale with the beginning of a sentence. Exhale as the sentence unfolds. Allow the cadence to guide you deeper into calm. If the mind wanders, return gently to the breath. If sleep comes before the reading ends, that is welcome. Allow the words to carry you into rest. If worry rises, let the promises I read be a soft hand on the shoulder. They are not a cure-all. They are a presence. They remind the heart that a faithful one watches over the night. Imagine a small room with an open window. The curtains move with a gentle breeze. Outside, stars blink with quiet patience. The same sky stretches over every small burden. It does not shame or hurry. It simply is. Let that image sit for a moment. There is room enough for care beneath that sky. There is room enough for mercy. As I read, picture the promises as seeds. Each one is simple. Each one has the power to grow into comfort. Some seeds sprout quickly and bring immediate ease. Others take time. That is okay. Plant them tonight with a soft hand. Do not demand fruit. Simply trust the soil. Trust the warmth. Trust the unseen work beneath the surface. Sometimes the heart resists opening. That resistance was shaped by hard days and sharp words. That is understood. There is no rush. Open a corner first. Let the breeze find that spot. Or a team. More of the heart will breathe. The spirit tends the slow work. It does not hurry the careful growth. Surrender is gentle. It is not a failure. It is a return. I will not ask for long confessions. Tonight's request is small. Speak one short thing that needs light. That might be a fear, a lost opportunity, a tired body, or a nameless ache. Whisper it to the quiet within. The act of naming releases a small measure of control. It sends that weight into larger hands. That movement begins rest. Mercy is an action that meets the fragile heart. It does not demand perfection. It welcomes the honest, tired place. Expect kindness, not scolding. Expect tenderness, not judgment. The promises I will read reflect that kindness. They remind the soul of steady presence. They say that mistakes do not erase worth. They say that grace waits at the edge of weariness. Let the body sink deeper into the bed. Feel the mattress hold the weight. Notice the way fingers rest. Let limbs feel heavy and safe. In this safety, the mind can grow quiet. In this safety, the heart can open. There is no performance here. There is only rest and listening. The pace is slow and deliberate. The voice will match that stillness. As I turn the pages, pay attention to a single phrase that stands out. It might be a word like mercy, rest, faithful, or near. Let that word become a soft guide for the next few breaths. Repeat it in silence, if that helps. Breathe in meaning. Breathe out doubt. Allow that word to settle into the wide space behind the breastbone. It can become a pillow for the restless thoughts. Feel the presence of Christ as warmth rather than argument. Feel connection, not pressure. The night does not ask for theological answers. It asks for companionship. The presence here is not distant. It is as close as the breath. It holds gently. It listens. It offers rest. There may be images that arise as the words fall. Perhaps a remembered hand, a light in a doorway, a quiet field, or a small child sleeping. Let those images wash through without needing to hold them. They are part of the night's tapestry. They can bring comfort or release. Let them pass at their own pace. If tears come, let them Tears are part of cleansing. They relieve the pressure of the day. Each tear is a small river carrying something away. There is no shame in that flow. The promises do not condemn the tears. They rest with them. They hold the hand through the soft currents. Those who carry long seasons of grief can place that weight down for this time. Grief is not erased in an evening. It is known, it is honored. The promises I will read will stand at the border of sorrow. They will not push it away. They will offer light for each step forward. Take what seems gentle. Leave the rest for a later time. The night is patient. This ritual is simple. It will repeat often through the coming nights. Each reading adds a layer of calm. Each night deepens trust. There is no hurry to arrive at a final peace. Peace grows in small, repeated acts. Tonight is one such act. The habit of hearing promises before sleep becomes a soft anchor. It steadies through many tomorrows. Now, place a hand upon the chest if that feels right. Feel the rise and fall. Let that movement be a reminder that life continues even in rest. The breath is faithful. The promises are faithful. The two move together like a tide and shore. One does not overpower the other. They meet and support. As the lamplight steadies, the room grows a little dimmer. The sound of the house fades. The space between heartbeats widens with ease. In that space, there is room for God's promises to enter without hurry. Receive them as guests who come with warm blankets and kind smiles. They sit with no demand. They sit and watch the slow easing of unrest. I will begin soon. The reading will be slow. Pause will follow each line. Time will open between the words. Those gaps are not empty. They are places for the promises to sink in. Allow them to do their work. Do not hurry to fill the silence. The silence is medicine. Before I read. A final cara. If thoughts of tomorrow press in, decide on one small next step and entrust the rest. One small task is enough. Let the rest be held by grace. The night wraps up what cannot be solved. Now, sleep is its own kind of repair. When the first passage ends, rest a moment and notice the change. Perhaps the chest feels softer. Perhaps a small hope glows like a lantern. Perhaps slumber comes. Each response is a faithful sign, accepted without comparison. The journey of rest is yours alone. Now, with hands still warm from breath and a heart open by small degrees, prepare to hear the first reading. The book is ready. The words wait with patient clarity. I will read them plainly and slowly. Let them fall into the quiet. Let them settle where they need to settle. When the voice begins, breathe with it. Let the promises that follow be a night lamp for the soul. The next part will bring the first of those promises. Now, close the eyes if that helps. Rest the head. Keep the breathing steady. I will start when the room is ready. I lower my voice another degree. The room leans in with me. Sound grows thin and soft. Each word will be a small step. Each sentence will be a quiet hand on the shoulder. Breathe with me now. Inhale slow. Count to 4, if that helps. Hold for a gentle second. Exhale longer. Let the out-breaths be like a soft tide leaving the shore. Feel the belly move with each breath. Notice how the ribs widen. Then settle. The rhythm is steady. Hold to it. There is no hurry. Make small adjustments that invite rest. Turn the face toward the pillow. Let the chin drop a little. Relax the mouth. Let the tongue rest behind the teeth. Ease the shoulders down along the mattress. A tiny change here eases tension there. The body accepts small gifts. Give it one. Imagine now a place where presence lives. It is not a location on a map. It is a sense. Picture a room warm with evening light. The air is soft like wool. A lamp somewhere makes a pool of honeyed glow. The light spreads without asking. It touches hands, cheeks, and blankets. It does not demand anything. It simply rests. Around that light, imagine a gentle presence. It moves quietly like a breeze through an open curtain. It is neither heavy nor distant. It is close. Picture that presence like a circle of calm that meets the skin and enters the chest. It is not loud. It is like a familiar melody remembered in sleep. Let the feeling settle there, where the heart quietly keeps watch. Use the senses to anchor this now. Notice any scent in the room. Maybe it is the faint linen of the sheets. Maybe it is water or rain on the window. Let the scent become part of the quiet. Hear a distant creak or the hush of the house. Allow those small sounds to be gentle companions. Feel the weight of the blanket. Let it be a small, safe weight. The body recognizes safety and relaxes further. If it feels right, place a hand lightly on the chest. The palm feels warm. Match your breathing to the rise and fall there. Each inhale lifts the hand. Each exhale lowers it. The motion is a lullaby. It speaks of continuity. The breath is faithful when other things are not. Set aside brightness. Turn off screens. Let the phone lie face down somewhere else. These small outward choices simplify the inward space. We cannot receive deeply while divided by light and noise. Make a single decision to let them rest until morning. This night belongs to calm. Choose a single word to carry with the breath. It may be near, or rest, or mercy. Whisper it softly in the mind as you inhale. Let it linger as you exhale. Do this no more than 3 times. And then let the word settle like a stone in still water. The stone sits without needing notice. It changes the water without hurry. Imagine the presence now as warmth at the back of the ribs. It is steady. It is simple. It does not push. It holds. Picture light like a soft shawl draped across the shoulders. Feel it leave a trace of ease along the neck. Let the jaw unclench beneath that shawl. Allow the forehead to smooth. Tiny muscles that have kept a guard for too long begin to let go. There is comfort in smallness. The night does not ask for big decisions. It asks for small truths. One breath, one anchor word, one gentle adjustment. Hold to these small things. They add up like stitches in a blanket. Over many nights, the warmth grows. If images come a field, a door, an old stone wall, let them pass like shapes in a slow film. Do not clutch them. Do not push them away. Let them drift. Sometimes an image brings rest. Sometimes it brings more feeling. Both responses are allowed here. The presence covers both the calm and the stirring. As I sit with the open book, I prepare the space for reading. The Bible sits on my lap like a steady friend. The edges of the pages are soft from use. The spine holds the shape of many nights. I will read slowly. I will leave pauses so the words can land. Those pauses are as much a part of the reading as the words. Expect simplicity. The passages chosen tonight are gentle. They speak of nearness, care, and quiet strength. They do not attempt to resolve every question. They do not weigh you down with arguments. They offer rest. They offer a faithful voice that keeps watch in the dark. I will not rush the sentences. I will let each promise sit. Between lines. Take time. Let the breath find the space. If sleep arrives before the reading ends, that is welcome. Let the words carry into dreams. If attention drifts, return without judgment to the rhythm of the breathing. The practice is gentle, not perfect. There is a small ritual that helps me and might help here. Place the palm of one hand over the place where the heart keeps time. Feel the warmth there. Offer a single sentence in the quiet. No long prayer is needed. A short phrase is enough. It might be a simple help, or thank you, or I am tired. Say it softly inside. The act of speaking in the heart sends weight into a wider care. If sorrow presses, name one small piece of it. Maybe it is a memory that will not rest. Maybe it is a worry for tomorrow. Choose one small thread to hold. Name it, and imagine laying it down on a table beside you. Look at it for a moment. Then step away. The act of laying it down creates a small new space for peace. I will invite a few moments of silence now. In the silence, keep the breath slow. Allow the night to gather. Let the presence you pictured wrap more thoroughly. This silence is not empty. It is full of attention. It is a small room with a warm lamp. Rest there for a few breaths. If tears come, they are welcome. They are a language of release. They do not make the room any less sacred. Let them fall without hurry. Let the presence of mercy meet them without surprise. Tears are a way the heart lightens. They help the chest find room to breathe. If worry about tomorrow seeks to crowd the moment, choose one small action to hold for the morning. One small concrete step. No more. List it in the mind. Then tuck it away into the care of the coming day. Allow the rest to be held by grace for this night. The night can tend what cannot be solved. Now, if there are hands that ache from work, or a back that carries tension, send the breath toward that place. Imagine each inhale filling the space with warm air. Picture the exhale releasing small knots, like threads being unwound. The body knows how to soften when attention turns kindly to it. You might settle into a posture that supports sleep. A pillow to cradle the neck. A pillow between the knees to ease the hips. A light throw over the feet. These small choices change the body's signal to sleep. Make one change that brings comfort, now. If this time of reading brings help, there is a gentle way to extend the gift. Share the practice with another who needs rest. A small note. À qui est encouragement? A link to future readings can brighten another night. If it seems right, consider subscribing, so these evenings arrive in a steady rhythm. A simple comment can tell me what brings calm. Sharing is a quiet way to spread rest. Do this only if it feels like a natural kindness. There is no pressure here. Now, with the room softened and the breath steady, hold a small expectation rather than a demand. Expect nothing dramatic. Expect a slow steadying. Expect mercy to touch the edges of worry. Expect the voice you hear to be a companion for the short miles of the night. I arrange the book. My fingers find the page. The paper is cool. The words wait, patient and plain. I will read aloud in a measured way. Each phrase will have space. Each sentence will conclude and then rest. Listen for the pauses as much as the words. They are part of the medicine. Before the first line, rest the attention on the chest again. Feel the hand rise. Fall. Let the rhythm be the map for the reading. When I begin, breathe with the start of each sentence. Let the inhalation meet the first syllable. Let the exhale carry the line to its finish. The voice and breath move as a single calm thing. There is no need to stay fully awake. If sleep comes, let the words slide under the surface. If the mind stays bright, let the word you chose at the start come back occasionally to steady the breath. The reading tonight keeps a gentle boundary. It honors fatigue. It honors wakefulness. It meets both without judgment. I pause for a moment. The lamp hums quietly. The house breathes with me. The presence remains as steady as a soft hand. Now, I will begin the first passage. I read aloud with care. I let each phrase settle before I move on. Allow the words to rest on the chest like small, warm stones. Let them warm the place where the heart learns to trust again. When the first passage finishes, a small silence will follow. Stay in that silence. Notice what the body has gained. Notice any small easing. If something wants to be named, say it inwardly. If nothing comes, that is fine too. The practice is patient. I turn the page now. Fingers light. The night stretches forward like a path lined with low lamps. Each passage is a lamp. Each pause is a step. Keep breathing. Keep the body soft. The reading continues when you are ready. The next words will come slowly. I will match the pace of the room. If sleep comes, rest in it as a faithful gift. If the eyes stay open, let the voice be a steady companion. Either way, the night is held. I tell this story in a slow voice. The house around me breathes in time with my words. The lamp casts one calm pool of light. The memory sits there like a small stone in that pool. It shifts the surface, but only a little. It stills the rest. A season of busyness presses on the chest. There is a long week of care behind me. Days of appointments, of listening, of hands that do not find rest. Nights are the hardest. The body wants sleep. The mind keeps the tally of needs. The heart carries a quiet ache. On one such night, the world feels thin. The usual patterns hold less well. Prayer is short. Hope seems distant. I carry a small book in my bag. The pages are soft from many turnings. At odd hours, when waiting rooms quiet or buses hum, a verse slips into the pocket of my day and lightens the load. Psalm 2:3, one has a particular steadiness. The idea that a shepherd provides what is needed sits like a warm stone over the ribs. It does not fix everything. It offers a place to rest. I tuck that thought close while going about small tasks. That evening, the phone shows a message that widens the tired. There is a change in plans. A delay becomes longer than expected. The body protests, and the mind begins to rehearse fears. I walk out into a rain that sounds like soft glass on the street. The umbrella keeps the head dry, but not the bones. Each step is measured. Each breath is steady but thin. The bus is late. The bench is cold. I settle with the bag on the lap. The lamp above the shelter scatters pale light in a small circle. People move like slow shadows across the wet pavement. A few riders come and go. The night tastes like iron and rain. From the far side of the shelter, a movement comes without fanfare. A cup appears. Warm steam rises. A hand sets it beside me without asking. The paper warms the damp fingers that hold it. The cup gives off a faint smell of tea and something like kindness. There is no announcement. There is no demand. The gesture is small. It is perfectly timed. The warmth of the cup moves across the palms. It slides into the chest like a slow tide. A breathing mistake finds correction. The shoulders drop a fraction. Heat travels down the spine. The hands, which have been holding the bag tight, loosen in that moment. The world changes shape. The night is not smaller. It is simply kinder. The person who brought the cup sits quietly a little way off. There is no fanfare. There is no question. There is only an unspoken companionship. The presence is steady, like someone keeping watch beside a sleeping child. Neither of us speaks. Neither of us needs to. The silence itself becomes a kind of mercy. I remember thinking then that this was grace. It arrives under the umbrella of ordinary life. It looks like a warm cup and a steady presence. It does not explain itself. It does not demand repayment. It simply happens. The heart, which had been tight and guarded, opens enough to receive. The image of a shepherd providing comes back. The idea that lack can be met in a simple way sits next to the memory of the tea. The pastoral care is not always a dramatic intervention. Sometimes it is a hand that steadies the cup. It is a presence that refuses to hurry away. There is a lesson in that quiet economy of mercy. Later, when the bus finally arrives, the cup is finished. The hands are warmer. The pace of thought has softened. The small kindness did not change everything. The errands still wait. The weariness remains a companion. But a new thing holds steady, the feeling of being noticed. The presence at the bench says, without words, that someone cares enough to interrupt their night to offer warmth. That message lingers long after the shelter empties. At home, the memory warms more complicated places. The tea on the bench becomes a parable of sorts. It is a small story about how presence can fulfill the simplest wants. Psalm 2:3. One takes on a softer face. The shepherd's care is not a far theological abstraction. It is a neighbor who brings a warm cup. It is a stranger who keeps a silent watch. It is a presence that makes lack feel less absolute. The next morning, the memory arrives again during the early hours. The body still bears the strain of the past week. The mind still lists the coming tasks. Yet the warmth from that night finds a corner in the chest. It is a lamp on a long path. The memory helps the day begin with a lighter foot. I keep telling this story because it matters for nights like this. The act of remembering becomes a way to prepare a reading. When I open the Bible at your bedside, I carry that moment with me. The story softens the voice. It keeps the reading humble and tender. The words I read afterward are not abstract truth to lecture with. They are promises that land on a life that is already smelling of tea and rain. There is a careful difference between claiming a miracle and noticing grace. The cup on the bench did not rearrange the world. It made a small place to breathe. That smallness is often where mercy lives. The night is full of such small mercies. They arrive like lanterns along a dark road. They do not remove the journey. They make steps lighter. When I read to you, I choose passages that echo this simple economy. They speak of provision in ordinary ways. They whisper about presence rather than dramatic rescue. They carry the quiet insistence that we are not alone. They offer a hand without asking for a ledger. The reading becomes a way to share the warmth I was given. Sometimes the kindness I remember comes from unexpected people. Once it was a neighbor who left soup at a door when the power went out. Once it was a clerk who offered a discount when bills pressed near. Once it was a volunteer who sat beside a hospital bed and simply stayed. All of these are small acts, and all of them point back to the same truth. Care can be mundane and sacred at the same time. The sensation of being watched over does not feel foreign. It feels familiar. It is like the way a mother's hands smooth a brow. It is like a friend who reads late to keep company. The presence is simple and present. It does not trumpet itself. It holds quietly. Like the lamp that fills this room with gentle light, I do not tell this story to prove anything. I tell it to invite a posture. Remembering softens the demand to be fixed immediately. It allows acceptance of what is. It opens the heart enough to receive rest. The breath grows even. The chest makes room. Tonight, the same care extends to you. The book is open. The lamp is steady. The memory of the warm cup lives as a small example. The words I will read follow that example. They offer what can be offered, a faithful presence, a steady voice, and scriptural promises that act like a slow, kind warmth. As the voice moves through the sentences, picture the small kindnesses of your own life. They might be harder to see. They might be bright and obvious, or they might be hidden as a thread under many days. Choose one such kindness and allow it to rest in the chest. Let it be a proof against the night's larger fears. Let it be a sign that not every need is left unattended. This practice does not solve everything. It does not promise immediate relief from every wound. It does promise a companion in the dark. It promises a shepherd who is gentle in ways that match human tenderness. It promises that little hands of mercy still reach out. Tonight, accept that small reaching. Now, breathe with the memory for a few slow counts. Inhale the warmth like steam from a cup. Exhale the tightness like breath through pursed lips. Let that rhythm guide the next verses. The reading will be gentle. The words will rest on the memory, as if setting down another warm cup. Each line will have room to land when the next passage begins. Let the image of the bench return as a lamp for the heart. The kindness that came without question meets the promises of the Scriptures. Together, they steady the breath and ease the load. They invite a sleep that is not uncaring, but watched over. In a moment, I will read aloud. The pace will be slow. The tone will be soft. Let the words and the remembered kindness be companions for the short miles of the night. Rest here for a breath or two. Receive the quiet. Receive the mercy. The story ends for now. It settles like a small stone in the pool. The ripples are gentle. The lamp above the pages keeps its steady glow. The reading resumes when you are ready. The night grows deeper. The lamp softens. Breath stays slow. This part carries a quiet theme. Forgiveness becomes a pathway to peace. The path is small and deliberate. It does not rush. It does not demand that everything be explained. It asks only for a willing hand. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not pretending. A wound does not exist. It does not excuse harm. It makes room for truth, without keeping that truth as a chain. The action is small. It loosens the fingers that have clenched around a hurt. It opens a space for rest. There is a particular night that stays with me. The air is cold outside, and the house is warmer than the street. A person close to me carries a long, sharp memory. The memory has kept the chest tight for many years. Words that cut are still vivid. A face that turned away appears in the corners of quiet hours. Sleep comes in fits. A steady ache lives where trust once was. One slow evening. A choice is made, not a grand speech, not an instant miracle. A single small decision to let go of the ledger. The decision begins in a whisper. It blooms into a practice. Each morning, a moment is given to name the hurt. Then that small thing is placed on the windowsill of the heart. The act is simple. The hurt is given away little by little. The first time that giving happens, the chest resists. The fingers tighten in reflex. The memory pulls like a thorn. Yet the choice keeps returning. The practice is gentle as water. It wears down the sharp edge. After weeks, the memory does not disappear. It sits lighter. The shoulders are knit in sleep. Dreams find more mercy. The relief that follows is not dramatic. It is subtle as dawn. A small easing arrives behind the ribs. The breath lengthens by a fraction. A smile slips in at a moment when a thought drifts to something ordinary. The world does not change in a single sweep. It begins to host gentler weather. Forgiveness in this way feels like handing a stone to someone who offers it without judgment. The hand does not pry. It only receives and nods. The act of releasing is not an admission of weakness. It is a deliberate step toward peace. It clears a place for rest. I remember another story near to me. A friend forgave a parent who had failed in steady ways. The failure had left small broken things everywhere. A lifetime of small rejections had built a wall. The friend did not pretend the wall never existed. Instead, a slow dismantling began. Each forgiving thought became a brick gently removed. The process took years. It looked like grace in a long, patient form. One evening, after many such small acts, the friend sat on a porch as night came. The air was still, and the usual ache remained, but was quieter. The friend spoke inside one short phrase of thanks for a small kindness once given, and a peace arrived like rain after drought. The peace did not erase the past. It softened the presence of it. Sleep arrived without the old weight. There is mercy in these quiet shifts. Mercy looks like small successes. It collects in the margins of days. It is a kind practice. The Bible speaks of grace as a gift. Ephesians 2:8 names it plainly. It reminds that salvation and care are not payments earned, but gifts received. This truth sits near the practice of forgiveness. To accept a gift is also to release a demand for payment. When that realization settles, the act of forgiving becomes less about fairness. It becomes more about freedom. Freedom is not the reward of perfection. It is the breath that follows a deliberate letting go. The mind that has kept score finds rest. When the need to tally fades, the heart that kept watch loosens its guard. Forgiveness touches the giver as much as the one forgiven. This is a small mystery. The one who forgives often sleeps better. The night becomes less of a weapons cache and more of a garden. The gardener tends without blame. The soil breathes. On some nights, forgiving is not toward another person. It is toward the self. That is a tender work. Mistakes that feel like permanent stains demand a gentle touch. The practice begins with naming the fault without amplifying it. One short admission. Then hands open, as if offering the error to the ground. In that moment, grace is accepted. Peace grows like moss in damp places. A quiet exercise helps. Lie back and place the hand on the chest. Name one small wound to yourself. Speak the name inside and then picture handing it over as if it were a pebble. Watch it leave the palm and fall into a slow stream. Follow the ripple until it is far. Take another breath. Let the chest soften. The presence that watches this night is not indifferent. It celebrates the courage to release. It does not rush a false reconciliation. It accompanies the honest work of repair. The Bible offers narratives that do this gently. Passages of forgiveness show how hearts mend through small acts. They do not demand grand proofs. They nudge toward peace. In quiet rooms, I read those passages aloud. The voice is slow. Each sentence is a step. The passages are not used as a rebuke. They are offered as a balm. The words move like warm water. They meet the places that have been closed for too long. Sometimes, before sleep, a simple confession forms. It is not a long accounting. A short admission is enough. One small truth admitted into the dark loosens something heavy. The night then has room to breathe. The lamp is not a stern judge. It is a witness that sees small courage and honors it. Forgiveness also means setting boundaries. Letting go of the desire to revenge does not mean permitting harm again. The restful path holds careful safety. Saying no can be an act of mercy when it protects the heart from further damage. The two live together like bed and pillow. One supports. The other invites rest. There is tenderness in the practice of forgiving others who do not ask for it. It can feel strange at first. The mind protests the unfairness. Yet when the hand opens, a secret relief comes. The relief is like a cool cloth on a fevered brow. The heart begins to beat with simpler rhythms. These small acts of mercy change the landscape of nights. The reading that follows them arrives with a different warmth. The passages of Scripture settle into places that ached. The promises land on soil that has been watered by intentional release. They sprout small assurances. Forgiveness is not a single event for many of us. It becomes a nightly habit. Each night gives a chance to untie a small knot. Some knots are simple to loosen. Others hold tight for longer. The practice is patient. Repeat it gently. No performance is required. Only a willingness to try again. A memory helps with this habit. Once, on a slow evening, a person sat by the window and wrote a short list of things to forgive. The list was not a confession of weakness. It was a map. Each item was folded and set in a small box. The box was not thrown away. It was placed on the shelf as a testament to small progress over months. The list shrank. The box felt lighter to lift. The ritual is small and safe. If it seems helpful, make a small list tonight. Write one name or one hurt. Fold it. Place it somewhere. Do not catalogue everything at once. Begin with one grain of sand. The hand that releases that one grain learns to trust the tide. Forgiveness teaches something about gifts. When grace is remembered as a gift, the urge to demand payment softens. The heart that has received a gift learns to give one in return. This is not because of merit. It is because of an overflow. The rhythm of giving and receiving is not a ledger, it is a dance. As I read the Bible tonight, I hold these images lightly. The pages hold centuries of small stories about people who found rest after letting go. They do not promise quick fixes. They promise companionship. They promise a steady hand in the dark. Before I begin the next passage, take a slow, steady breath. Name one small thing to forgive, whether for another or for yourself. Say it quietly within. Then picture placing it on a small boat at the river's edge. Watch the boat drift. It does not disappear without care. It moves toward a horizon where mercy meets it. The lamp warms the room. The house is still. The breath is calm. The image rests. The path of forgiveness waits as a gentle road walked by tiny steps. Tonight, one step is enough. When the reading resumes, the words will come as a soft companion to that small step. They will not argue. They will not press. They will offer mercy and hope like blankets for a long night. Rest in that thought for a moment. The section closes with a quiet invitation. Receive grace as a gift. Offer forgiveness as a path. Let sleep be steady and kind. When the next passage begins, let the voice and the page carry the practice deeper into rest. The night holds you. The presence keeps watch. The path continues. I settle into the habit of tending the dark. The lamp throws a soft arc across the page. Me voice lowers. The night listens. Fear comes quietly. It sits near the ribs like a small animal that will not move. Sometimes fear is loud. It pounds at the door in the small hours. Both kinds ask for a companion rather than an argument. Faith does not always take the fear away. Faith often changes what walks beside it. There are nights when fear feels big enough to fill the whole house. The chest tightens. The breath shortens. Thoughts race ahead like shadows on a wall. In those nights, faith works like a slow lamp. It does not banish the dark. It makes a circle of light that keeps the next step steady. One memory returns often. The house smells of antiseptic. A wide corridor seems to stretch forever. A name on a clipboard trembles in the hand. The waiting room chair is hard. The chart folds into the pocket of the mind and refuses to smooth. The fear here is sharp and immediate. It is wired to future images that are hard to bear. The presence I carry into such rooms is small at first. A single line of scripture that once felt like a cool stone. I do not unwrap complicated theology. I turn the sentence slowly and let it rest on the tongue of the heart. The breath finds a measure, the shoulders let down by a few degrees. The fear does not vanish. It softens enough to breathe. On another night, the thunder is close. Rain slaps the window like small hands. A child in the next room starts and wakes. The fear there is noise and pulse. The child's breathing quickens. A foot finds the floor and moves across the dark. The small body needs a steady presence. I sit and hold the book without speaking. The light in the hall is dim. My hand finds the spine and fingers follow the familiar seam of paper. Faith, for that child, is not a sermon. It is a slow rhythm. A hand on a back, a soft hum left unsaid. A story read in even strokes. The fear recedes a little, with each calm breath that follows mine. Later, quiet returns. The night hushes. The house slides back into its easier shape. Fear appears in other forms too. It has a face of uncertainty about the future. It arrives as a thin pulse of worry when bills are too many and work is sparse. It comes as the memory that returns at 3 a.m. It shows as the fear of failing someone who depends on the hands that I have. Each fear is different. Each asks for a different kind of tending. Faith meets these fears not by erasing them, but by offering a companionable reality. Scripture speaks to this in small, steady ways. A promise read slowly becomes the same as a hand resting on a shoulder. The words do not in themselves force sleep. They sit at the bedside as a presence does. They invite trust by familiarity and repetition. I remember a season when uncertainty felt constant. The next step in life seemed blurred by fog. Sleep became a sequence of half dreams and checking the clock. In the middle of one such night, the practice began. A short list is made. 3 small truths. 1 small hope. 1 tiny plan. 1 act of kindness to oneself. The list is not a cure. It is a little map that keeps the feet from wandering into panic. Slow breathing follows. Each inhale counts to 3. Each exhale counts to 5. The longer out-breath becomes a break. It teaches the nervous system that rushing is not required. The counting is gentle. It is not a test of endurance. It is a tool for finding ground. In the space created, a verse is read. The verse is not wielded as an argument. It is read like a lullaby. Fear often takes the shape of a story told inside the head. It paints the future in alarming colors. Faith listens to that story without arguing every line. It asks only for 1 short correction. 1 small truth placed beside the tale. Overtime. The correction grows weight. The fearful script does not vanish. It becomes a part of a larger story where mercy and care also have lines. There is courage in naming fear. The practice is small and safe. Name 1 fear aloud in the mind. Keep it simple. A single word. Illness. Loneliness. Failure. The naming does not strengthen the fear. It loosens its hold. A name makes something vague into a small thing that can be set down. Place the named fear on a table inside the mind. Look at it there. Do not plead or fight. Simply notice. Then set it in a basket. Imagine closing the lid for a while. The act is symbolic. The movement trains the hands to stop holding the fear as a constant companion. Faith is not a magic trick. It is a discipline of the heart. Once, in the quiet of a night that felt too heavy, there is a small practice that helps. Palm rests on the chest. The breath becomes slow. The hand feels the rise and fall. The fear is allowed to be. Then, with a breath, the fear is offered into a larger care. It is no grand surrender. It is a short motion handing over a stone with steady fingers. The relief is subtle at first. It grows in time. Another night holds a fear of speaking in public. The pulse hits the throat, and the voice falters. Practice helps in that case. Speak short phrases into the dark mirror of the window. Hear the voice return to itself. Faith provides a steady audience. The steady audience is not judgmental. It simply listens and accepts. That absence of performance frees the shoulders to relax. Faith is also a community of small helpings. A letter from a friend. A voice that says, "I am awake here if you need me." A neighbor who brings over soup. These small acts are faith in motion. They repair nights by showing that the world contains gentle hands. They confirm that fear is not the final fact. I read words aloud that have steadied me on similar nights. The voice is slow and plain. Each line is given room. The pauses are wide. Those pauses are as important as the words. They are where the heart can fold them into its own rhythm. The reading is not meant to be studied. It is meant to be received. Sometimes fear is old and feels permanent. In those seasons, the work is patient. Small practices repeat day after day. A morning verse, a brief prayer offered while making tea, an act of kindness to the self. These are not dramatic shifts. They are small stitches. Over time, they form a blanket. The edge of fear is bound into something warmer. There is also a gentle firmness in faith. It offers a simple refusal to let panic make all the rule. When terror wants to take the wheel, faith gently takes the hand back and steers one small mile at a time. The steering is not grand. It is a decision to follow a slow pattern, breathe. Pray. Act kindly. Sleep a little. That small routine builds trust in quiet increments. I keep the habit of reading passages that speak to presence. They do not promise a painless life. They promise a faithful companion. The pages are read like a steady beam across a dark floor. They show where to put the next step. The reading meets fear with narratives of people who were afraid, and then found steadying help. Those stories do not erase the fear. They make it part of a larger road. One helpful exercise is to imagine a lantern that travels with the steps. The lantern is small at first. It fits comfortably in the palm. Each faithful breath makes the lantern grow by a fraction. Each small act of courage adds a little oil. The lantern never becomes a sun suddenly. It becomes sure enough to see the next stone. Walk with that image for a few slow breaths. Notice the pulse settle. When fear comes at night, keep the eyes soft. Fix attention on a small point of light. Let the light be steady rather than bright. If thoughts rush, name them briefly and return to the breath. Do not chase the thoughts. Let them pass like leaves on a stream. The act of watching them move reduces their power. A memory of a particular night of fear stays gentle in the mind. A long corridor. A lamp at the end. A child sleeping. Hands that hold a book. A voice that reads slowly. The fear that night ebbs because something steady is present. That steadiness is not my own strength alone. It is a shared habit of prayer, of scripture, of small kindnesses. The shared habit builds a little scaffolding of calm. If a fear feels tied to another person, practice speaks gently. Pray for them, not as a weapon, not as a project, as a simple offering of care. The act of praying softens the hard edges. It moves the mind from trying to fix to the place of trusting. Trust in this sense is a small, daily practice rather than a single event. I am careful not to promise that fear will leave forever. It is not honest to promise eradication. The honest promise is steadier. It says you will not walk alone. It offers presence rather than perfection. That message tends the night like a slow fire that warms rather than burns. Before the next passage, try one short thing. Breathe in. Count to 3. Breathe out. Count to 5. Name one current fear in one word. Place that word in the palm of the mind. Offer it as an honest thing without argument. Then fold the hand and tuck the worry gently away for a time. Rest in the quiet that follows for 3 slow breaths. The lamp on the page keeps its warm arc. The voice will read the next lines in a minute. The words will sit beside the fear like a calm companion. They will not deny the feeling. They will offer hope that is simple and steady. Sleep can come while the words are still falling. That is welcome. If not, the presence remains. The night holds the fear and faith together until morning comes. When the reading begins, listen for the pauses. Let them matter as much as the sentences. Allow the slow cadence to match the breathing. Let faith be a small lamp. Let it guide the next step. Not the whole road. The path continues. The night keeps watch. The presence does not fail. The lamp holds the page like a small harbor. My hand rests on the book for a moment before I open it again. The room breathes with low sound. The night is steady. My voice will be a soft blessing now. The next time the words move, they will be wrapped in an invitation to rest. Rest is a gift. It is not earned by a long list. It is not granted only after right behavior. It comes like rain that does not ask for permission. Tonight, I offer a short blessing that you can carry into sleep. Receive it as a simple gift. No performance is needed. Only breath and a willing heart. Breathe in slowly. Count to 4 if it helps. Hold very briefly. Breathe out longer. Count to 6. The out-breath lengthens the space between thoughts. The chest settles. Muscles that have kept a guard begin to release. Let the weight of the body be plain and true against the mattress. Allow the head to find the pillow and stay. Imagine now a pair of hands that do not let go. They are steady and warm. They are not fussy about details. They do not demand explanation. Their hold is simple. Picture those hands beneath the shoulders, under the small curve of the back, supporting without jar or hurry. The weight on those hands becomes lighter. The mind softens around the edges. There is a promise that sits like a lamp in many nights. It says that fear is not the final authority. The promise reassures you are not left alone. You are upheld when worry rises like a tide. This truth stands against it. When sleep refuses to come because the mind rehearses hard scenes, the same truth invites ease. Hear it. As a gentle command, do not be afraid. For help is very near. You are upheld through the dark. Place one small worry on the pillow beside you. Make it concrete. Name it quietly in the mind. It might be a call you must make tomorrow. A decision that feels heavy. A small fear of a visit or test. Speak its name once. Then imagine handing it into those steady hands. Picture the hands closing softly around the concern and holding it with care. The hands do not drop it. They do not fumble. They simply hold it until morning is ready to receive it again. If naming feels hard, try this instead. Picture a small boat on a slow river. Place that single worry on the boat's deck. Watch the river take it away. The current is calm. The boat is well made for the journey. It moves with trust into the dark that keeps going toward morning. You do not have to pull the boat back. It finds safety naturally. The body needs permission to rest as much as the mind does. Give it that permission now. Soften the jaw. Let the tongue rest behind the teeth. Unclench the grip in the hands. Let the fingers curl naturally at the sides. Imagine warmth spreading from the collarbone down through the ribs and into the belly. That warmth is like a soft shawl. The shawl does not push. It only comforts. Allow it. A gentle blessing follows. I speak it slowly. May this sleep be a soft place. May it knit small things that are frayed. May it carry away the weight that does not need to be carried tonight. May mercy find each small wound and breathe tenderly near the edges. May hope grow in tiny increments while the eyelids are closed. Let these be small promises that settle into the chest like quiet stones. Trust is a practice, not a proof. It grows by small acts repeated in quiet. Tonight's small act is this hand over one thing, and let it stay handed over until morning. If the mind returns to it, breathe and look at it from afar. Do not pick it up. Keep the hands empty. Empty hands are not helpless. They are capable of rest. The scriptures speak often about a presence that stays close in the night. That presence is like the hands, and like the boat. It is not a distant idea. It is a companion for the sleeping hours. In quiet language, the one who walks with you is present and steady. That presence promises to uphold and to steady the heart when the pulse quickens because of imagined storms. This truth steadies the rhythm. If tears come, let them. Tears are a way the soul unburdens. They are not a failure of faith. They are a release that helps the chest make room again. Each tear is a small river, carrying off something that the hands can leave behind. Allow the flow. The presence receives these too. Nothing offered there is wasted. You may find your thoughts circling. That is natural. Imagine them as birds that flutter toward a window. Do not slam the window. Instead, open the curtain a little and let the light come through. Watch each bird pass by without calling them to land. Return to the breath. The in-breath and out-breath are steady rails to follow. Let the sound of the breathing be a lullaby that steadies the mind. If the night brings a sharper fear, name it in one word, hold the word gently, then place it in the picture of the steady hands. See the hands hold it. Hear the imagined voice that says, "Do not be afraid. You are not alone. I hold your hand." The voice is calm and patient. It does not argue. It only reassures. Let that reassurance feel like a warm cloth over the tense places. There is a gentle way to bless the body itself. Trace the outline of the shoulder with a light thought. Follow the spine with a sensation of warmth. Imagine coolness leaving the temples like a mist. Picture the feet sinking into the bed as if into soft earth. The earth does not wake you unless morning asks. Rest in this stillness. If there are hands to bless hands that worked hard today, hands that were empty, hands that cared, lift them in the heart and let a small word of thanks rest on them. Such thanks is not a tally of good deeds. It is a simple recognition that the hands have been used. The recognition helps the hands relax. Sleep does not always come as a single curtain closing. It may arrive in visits. Do not be surprised by this. When sleep is a slow guest, greet it with patience. If it steals quietly into an arm for a few minutes, let the minutes lengthen. If it comes later in the night, receive it with no shame. The rhythm of sleep is not a contest. It is a companionable movement over time. Sometimes rest is practical as well as spiritual. A glass of water near the bed, a small pillow beneath an aching knee, a soft blanket over the feet. These small arrangements tell the body that it is cared for. Care to the body opens the door for rest of the mind. There is a tender discipline in waking up to what is If worries ring at the edge of sleep, jot down one small note on a paper beside the bed. A single line is enough. The act of writing hands the thought a place to live until morning. It tells the mind that it is seen and not dismissed. Then return the hand to the pillow and breathe. Consider now a small image to carry into dreams. A quiet arbor, a lamp on a distant shore, gentle ropes that tie a boat to a safe dock. The dock does not need words. It only holds. Keep that image close as the eyes grow heavy. Let it be a steady shape in the wandering places of sleep. When rest deepens, the pages I read dwindle into the background, and the voice becomes a hush in a dream. That is welcome. Let the words slide beneath the surface. Allow them to knit quietly inside while the body repairs itself. If attention stays awake, stay with the simple rhythm of breath and the small images you chose. Either way, the night is not wasted. A final blessing comes now. Spoken slowly and simply, may peace find the corners of the mind that keep watch. May rest gather you into its kind arms. May that presence that steadies not only watch, but hold you through the dark. May courage rise in the morning like sun through curtains. Sleep is a healing, not a test. Receive it freely. If sleep comes before the next passage, let it be a gift. If wakefulness remains, stay gentle with the eyes. Keep the breath slow. Return to the steady hands in the imagination. They are holding what you handed over. They will not let go until morning asks. I close the book for a moment and feel the paper cool beneath my palm. The lamp is steady. The room remains quiet when the reading resumes. The voice will pick up like a hand on a familiar path. For now, rest in the blessing. Let the peace that is offered here settle like a soft blanket over the chest. Sleep if it comes. If it does not, stay in the quiet for a while longer and breathe. The night keeps watch. The presence upholds. The gentle promise remains. You are not alone. The gift of rest is yours tonight. The room stays gentle. The breath finds a steady pace. A low voice reads slowly. The aim now is a quiet thing to notice weakness and to let love become strength. There are nights when the body feels thin, muscles ache from a long day, arms tingle from constant work, the knees feel fragile on stairs. On other nights, the weakness is quieter. It lives in a hollow behind the ribs. It is the ache of a hope that did not come. It is the fatigue of giving and giving again. Both kinds of weakness ask for a kind of help that is different from quick fixes. They ask for presence. A memory comes to mind, a winter where sleep was a rare guest. The illness was not dramatic but persistent. Days blurred into each other. Meals were small, and tasks that used to be light felt heavy. The hands wanted to rest, but the mind rehearsed the list of undone things. The chest kept a low sound, like someone walking slowly in another room. On a night like that, a small practice helps. The body needs permission to be soft. A hand rests on the belly. Breath counts to 3 on the in-breath. The out-breath counts to 5. The longer out-breath teaches the body it is safe to ease. With this simple rhythm, muscles begin to loosen. The mind follows the body partway. Weakness is not denied. It becomes a place to lay a hand. The most surprising help came not from a heroic cure. It came as warmth. A friend brings a small meal. The soup is simple. The portion is kind. The cup in the hand transmits more than heat. It transmits a message: you are seen, and you are not alone. That message feels like fuel. It does not erase the illness. It changes how carrying it feels. Another night holds a different weakness. A mistake made at work sits heavy. Regret plays like a record. Confidence feels fractured. The temptation is to hide, to repair alone. The first step towards strength in that season is brief honesty. A small admission in the quiet, said once and without dramatics, releases the story into a larger care. It is not a confession that demands punishment. It is a handing over of a shape that was never meant to be held alone. There is a text that often comes as a companion in those hours. Its tone is simple and steady. It says that strength is not only a thing we produce. Strength is received. The phrase is short and firm. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The words are not a loud promise of instant victory. They are a gentle reminder that weakness and help can exist together. The sentence becomes a bridge where the hands can cross. When I read this line aloud at the bedside, the voice is slow. Each phrase gets space. Breathe in with the first few words. Breathe out as the sentence completes. Let each syllable sink into the chest. The practice is not about performance. It is about letting a truth settle beside the tired places. Strength arrives in small ways. It looks like a steady hand at the back of the neck. It looks like a neighbor's quiet patience. It looks like a scripture verse that repeats until it roots into the heart. It looks like a friend who remembers to call. Love appears as steady supply. It is not loud. It is persistent. Another time, weakness felt like a long valley. A plan failed. A relationship frayed. The future looked uncertain. Sleep came in fits. The small daily tasks trembled under an anxious weight. In that season, a gentle truth became a practice. I learned to name one fragile thing each night, a single worry, a single regret. Then I offer that thing into a larger care. The offering is not an argument with the problem. It is a placement. Place the thing deliberately. Do it with a breath. On the in-breath, hold the worry like a small stone. On the out-breath, hand it over. Picture it resting in strong hands. Do not demand immediate solving. Trust that care knows how to hold it until morning. Strength also comes from remembering past tenderness. Once, after a particularly hard morning, a stranger stayed on the line and listened. No advice. No hurry. The listening itself felt like a hand under the chin. Later that evening, the memory of that call reappears as a warm ember. It becomes a reason to breathe again. Memory of kindness is a kind of muscle. It can be flexed when strength is required. Faith does not remove the difficulty. It adds a companion. The companion changes the task. Lifting becomes possible, not because the load shrinks, but because help is present. The help can arrive in prayer, in a scripture line, in a touch, in a small meal. Each form of help reminds that power is not held in isolation. Now, a short practice to try in the dark. Keep the breath slow. Think of the weakest place, tonight. Name it in one short phrase. It might be tired hands. It might be a frightened thought. It might be a wound in a conversation. Once named, repeat quietly the sentence, "Strength comes through love." Say it once on the in-breath. Say it again on the out-breath. Let the sentence move like a small tide inside the chest. Another simple image helps. Imagine roots beneath the feet. These roots are not for show. They go deep into good soil. They drink slowly. They do not stop the storm. They keep the tree from losing ground. Strength is like those roots. It is quiet. It works below the surface. It shows itself in steadiness, not in grand gestures, when weakness is public and shame walks beside it. The remedy is gentleness. Do not let the inner voice become a harsh taskmaster. Offer the self the same mercy that would be offered to a tired child. Speak to the weary heart with simple words, comfort with a steady presence, not with accusations. Mercy heals in small increments. The next few minutes will carry a short reading. The pace will be unhurried. The scripture line mentioned earlier will be heard slowly, not as proof, but as an invitation to lean. I read it because many have found in it a hand to hold. Each word is allowed to rest before the next arrives. Breathe with the reading. Let it anchor the breath. I read now. Slowly I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Pause. Take a soft breath. Allow the phrase to sit. Notice what shifts by an inch. Notice the way the chest responds. Strength is not required to be loud. It can be a small, steady pulse under the ribs. Carry this next image into sleep. Picture a cloak of quiet warmth draped over the shoulders. The cloak is not a shield against all weather. It is protection for the body and for the mind. When the hands drop the tasks of the day, the cloak remains. It keeps the core warm. Love is the maker of such cloaks. It offers protection that is tender and real. If doubt returns, meet it with a gentle question, not a battle cry. What small step is possible now? What single task can be left until morning? Often. The answer is one small thing. Do that one thing. Then rest. The economy of small works builds steady strength. Over time, the task list lightens because the heart learns to trust in help that is faithful. For those who carry long seasons of weakness, a daily rhythm helps. A morning phrase, a small verse read at noon, a quiet prayer before the head meets the pillow. These tiny disciplines are not burdensome. They are slow fortifications. They create habit and allow strength to accumulate. The bag of days becomes lighter because of repeated tiny actions. Tonight, put one small worry into the hands of love. Use a breath to move it. Do not demand immediate results. Let the worry rest as if in well-made hands. Feel the shoulders lower by a fraction. Let the eyes soften. A closing blessing follows, spoken slowly and plainly. May the love that strengthens be near tonight. May it press gently into the places of weakness and carry what the hands no longer need. May rest come easy and slow. May small courage arise in the morning like a steady light. Receive this blessing as a real thing, not a test. Rest now in the presence that holds you. If sleep comes before more words, let it be welcome. If wakefulness remains, sit with the steady breath for a few more moments. The page closes softly. The lamp keeps a mild glow. Strength flows quietly through love. Let that truth be steady under the ribs as sleep arrives. The night watches kindly. The morning will bring new small steps. For now, rest. The room is small and quiet. The lamp gives a steady ring of light. I sit with the book and the breath. Tonight's small turn is about mending what has been torn. A story of reconciliation waits like a soft thing in the pocket of memory. There is someone who has been distant for years. The distance began with a small wound. Over time, the wound widened. Letters slowed. Calls became rare. The habit of not calling is a thing that grows a life of its own. Habits are patient. They settle into grooves and become the way things feel. The relationship lives now in a thin ache behind the ribs. The ache is familiar. It has its own rhythm. The memory begins on an afternoon that seems ordinary. Rain begins like steady rain. The phone shows a short message. It is not long. It is an honest thing that asks for help. A small need surfaces a broken step. A heavy box. A kid errand. The kind of need that does not demand explanations or histories. It asks only for hands. There is hesitation. The old ledger in the mind lists the hurts. That accounting wants to be correct. The heart wants the ledger held open as proof. The choice in that moment feels heavy. One step could widen the distance. Another could begin a repair. The decision is not brave in a dramatic way. It is simply patient. It is a choice to act before the argument begins. I take the step that is small and true. A note is written in plain language, not a plea, not a justification. A simple "I will come over." No list of faults. No attempt to settle all the years in a single sitting. The note is short because the work is short at first. Small kindnesses are a good starting place. At the house, shoes are removed at the threshold. The storm makes a drumming on the roof. The task is practical fix. A loose board. Move a heavy bag. Hands work without much speech. There is a clumsy grace in the quiet cooperation. The body knows how to work beside another, even when the heart is weary. Tools clink. The radio hums softly. Neither side insists on the past. Work has its own language. When the job ends, something else happens that is unexpected and gentle. A cup of tea appears without fanfare. It sits on the table. The steam makes a little fog. The tea is ordinary. The gesture is not theatrical. It is a small kindness that says, "We can be here like this." The cup moves across the low divide between two people who have been apart. The first words are short and honest. No dramatic confessions. No exhaustive histories. Just a quiet admission that there was hurt, and a single, simple sentence that seeks something new. The admission does not erase the past. It makes a space for it to be seen without consuming the present. That space is necessary. It invites breathing. Listening comes first. One person listens while the other speaks. And then they switch. Listening is a slow thing. It is not waiting to answer. It is full attention without defense. It softens the armor. When someone else listens, the world becomes less loud. The act of hearing is a small gift. There is no need to press for a quick fix. Reconciliation is patient. It is a stitching together over time. The first meeting is a seam, tentative and careful. Subsequent meetings build the stitch. Dinners arrive. Phone calls return at a more regular pace. Apologies appear in short. Honest forms. Forgiveness follows as a practice rather than a dramatic proclamation. Colossians 3:1-3 is a gentle instruction that proves helpful in this slow work. It asks to bear with one another and forgive one another. The verse does not promise that every wound will vanish instantly. It offers a posture. The posture invites a willingness to let the ledger close for a night and to try the hard work of turning towards someone instead. Forgiveness here is an active tending. It is not easy. It is simple. The important piece in that text is the way it frames forgiveness. It is not a demand to forget. It is a call to carry with patience. Bearing with another is like carrying a shared weight for a moment of time and then setting it down together. The practice is small. It is daily. It asks that offenses be met with a readiness to restore, not to retaliate. That readiness is a muscle that grows when used. There are practical acts that keep repair steady. Small boundaries are set so harm cannot return. Agreements are made about how to speak when tension rises. A promise is given to pause and breathe before responding. These are not legalities. They are mercies. They keep the tender places safe while trust reassembles. A night comes when the two walk in silence down a familiar street. The steps are measured. The air smells of laundry and rain. There is a lightness now, not because the past is erased, but because it no longer has the exclusive say in each moment. A laugh slips out without effort. The laugh is small but true. Joy arrives in small, honest measures. Joy in reconciliation is a soft thing. It does not explode. It unfolds like dawn. It arrives in ordinary exchanges, a shared meal, a remembered joke, a small favor done without counting. The joy is the byproduct of restored presence. When presence returns, many small weary places begin to heal. There are nights when fear resurfaces. Old habits of caution return like gusts. The work of repair requires vigilance. A defensive sentence slips out. One breath stops it. The habit of pausing becomes crucial. Colossians 3:1-3 again is a helpful guide. It is a reminder that bearing with one another means returning to patience after a slip. The text does not blame those who falter. It invites perseverance. Sometimes reconciliation reaches a quiet climax that is nearly silent. A hand finds another in a pillow at 2 a.m. during a bad dream. A simple, "I'm here" without fanfare. A small gesture becomes a seal of ongoing restoration. Those moments are tender anchors that steady the days. Reconciliation is not an event. It is a season. It asks for grace in the day-to-day. It asks for the courage to show up when it would be easier to stay away. The courage is not always grand. It is often humble. It looks like a message sent at noon, a loaf of bread left on a porch, a listening hour given without interruption. These little acts are as meaningful as any large declaration. For listeners tonight, there is a small practice that helps this kind of mending. Hold a single name quietly in the mind. Not many. One will do. Picture that person sitting on the opposite side of a small table. Imagine a light between you. Offer. In the heart, a simple sentence I will bear with you tonight. Imagine lowering a small stone into calm water. Watch the ripples. Each ripple is a small action toward repair. If anger feels strong, do not pretend it away. Name it in the chest. Then imagine placing it on a small boat. Watch the boat leave the shore. Let the current take the weight. Not to deny it, but to move it into a horizon where mercy and patience can meet it. This is not forgetting. It is a choice to keep living beyond the burden. Forgiveness can be slow. It can also be a relief. The relief comes not from erasure, but from release. The release frees the hands. Those hands can then build small things, a meal, a chair repaired, a garden tended. The visible work of those hands is a testimony of mended trust. There is a quiet line in the scriptures that sums it up gently. It reminds that forgiveness is a practice done because we ourselves have been forgiven. The memory of being forgiven teaches the shape of mercy. That memory is not used as proof of superiority. It is used as a model for how to let go. In the night, that model becomes a lamp. Tonight, before sleep, name one small attempt at reconciliation that seems possible. It might be a message, a visit, a listening ear. Decide on a single first action. Keep it simple and limited. Small actions can be repeated. They can build into a steady path. Breathe slowly. Inhale for 3 counts. Exhale for 5. On the next in-breath, hold the small name lightly. On the out-breath, imagine the name resting in warm hands beside you. Those hands hold the worry and the hope together. They do not rush the healing. They promise presence. When ready, I read Colossians 3:1-3 with a slow and gentle cadence. The words land softly. They ask that each offense be met with the willingness to forgive, shouldering one another's faults as one would bear a burden. The voice does not demand a miracle. It invites a posture. It is an invitation to practice mercy in the small spaces between 2 daily lives. Let that verse sit in the chest like a small stone. Let it be a guide for the first tiny step tomorrow. The verse does not erase the complexity of human relationships. It does offer a steady hand. There is joy in the repair that grows quietly. It is a quiet joy that does not need applause. It fills the small moments, the corrected board, the shared tea, the laugh that comes without planning. Joy comes as trust rebuilds in small increments. A closing thought for the night. Choose one small act of reconciliation to imagine before sleep. Keep it modest. Keep it kind. Let that small intention rest like a warm ember in the chest. Trust that small embers often light steady fires with time. I put the book down for a moment and let the quiet settle. The lamp glows. The breath remains slow. Rest is the companion of repaired hearts. Sleep comes with patience and a soft promise that the morning will offer another small chance to be gentler, to bear more easily, and to welcome joy in the slow way that mending always prefers. Now breathe 3 times slowly. Picture the small boat taking the stone. Feel the shoulders release an inch. Hold the image of one reconciling step in the mind. When the eyes grow heavy, allow sleep to take its own time. The night keeps watch. The work of repair continues in gentle, steady measures. I sit with the book on my knee and the lamp low. The room leans inward like a hand cupped for warmth. My voice is slow. My breath is steady. Tonight's turn is about beginnings, new starts, small openings that arrive when the day lets go. Breathe in now. Count to 3. Hold very lightly. Breathe out to 5. Each exhale makes the mind quieter. Each inhale brings a tiny readiness. Keep the pace. Let the body rest into it. I remember one morning when everything felt old. Habits had built a fence I could not see over. The map of life looked like fields I had walked too often. On the table, a single blank sheet sat under a mug. The blank sheet frightened more than it invited. I moved my hand slowly and wrote a single word. That single word was a plan no bigger than a pebble. It changed the day by inches. New beginnings are often small things. They are tiny choices. They are not banners and trumpets. They are soft footfalls. They start with a single, awkward step. That step can be enough. There is a verse I carry to nights like this. It comes like a gate opening. If anyone is in Christ, there is a new creation. The old things do not decide everything now. The old patterns do not have the final say. Read slowly. Let the phrase settle like a seed in damp earth. Hear it plain and simple. A new way is present. It is not distant. It is near. When I say those words to you at the bedside, I do so as a companion rather than an instructor. I have known seasons that needed rewriting. I have said small words into the dark and watched the night answer with a thin light. The voice that reads does not force a change. It points to the possibility. It invites a patient trust. Begin with a single question. What is one small thing to try tomorrow? Do not choose everything at once. Choose one door to touch. A door can be a new breakfast, a short walk, a call to someone not heard from in months, a page written without polishing. The aim is not perfection. The aim is motion. I suggest a simple ritual. Find a small notebook. Keep it by the bed. Each night write one line about the day that is new. It may be a sentence as short as I tried, or I opened the door, over team. The pages gather like gentle proof. They remind the heart that new things happen in patient measures. New beginnings ask for mercy. They ask for permission to fail and to try again. When a step stumbles, do not be harsh. The soil for new growth needs a kind hand. Treat yourself as you would treat a friend who is learning to walk again. Offer warmth and quiet encouragement. There is also a danger in wanting too much immediacy. The mind wants fast answers. The life of renewal does not work that way. Think of a garden. Seeds do not appear as trees overnight. They spend unseen hours making roots. Trust the unseen work. Trust that small acts become large changes with time. A short practice helps on nights when doubt moves near. Close the eyes and imagine a window that faces east. The window has a small sill. Place one small object there. It might be a pebble, a feather, a dried leaf. Let the object be a symbol for the new thing you intend. Picture morning light touching that object. First, the image is simple. It trains the mind to look for the beginnings that follow sleep. When I read the scripture about new creation, I do it slowly. I let words breathe. I pause so they can sink. Hear them again now. If anyone is in Christ, the old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. Let that come be a present tense reality, not a promise far off, a near presence. Newness often arrives in unremarkable packages, a different route home, a new soup recipe, a refusal to answer the phone for an hour. These small alterations rewire the rhythm of days. They add a margin where something fresh can happen. The margin is important. Keep a sliver of time, unscheduled. Let the mind rest into that quiet and allow surprise to visit. Take one small, practical step before sleep tonight. Choose one tiny thing to do at first light. It can be as simple as opening a window for 5 minutes, or pouring 1 cup of water and drinking it slowly, or stepping outside to feel the air on the cheek. Make it small, so it is gentle. Smallness invites continuity. It helps to name fears about new starts, but not at length. Name it once. Say the word quietly in the mind. Fear, change. Fear, failure. Fear, not enough time. Then let the fear sit beside the chosen new thing. Do not let the fear dominate the horizon. In the presence of the chosen act, the fear loses some of its claim. A friend once told me that beginnings sometimes feel like a professional amateur. One must allow clumsy attempts for a season. The first strokes of a painting are messy. The first sentences are awkward. The first attempts at connection are unsure. These early acts are a necessary part of the craft. Honor the awkwardness. It shows that an attempt is being made. If the past has a heavy voice, hear it without arguing. Allow it to speak, and then hand it a small seat at a larger table. The table can hold both memory and hope. The posture that allows that is quiet and steady. It is less about erasing the past and more about inviting the present to be different. New beginnings are also communal. Share one small intention with someone who cares, not to seek validation, but to share the warmth of beginning. A short note in the morning, a message in the middle of the day, a single phrase before sleep I tried today. The sharing creates gentle accountability and also companionship. Tonight, I read the scripture aloud slowly again. Let the cadence become part of the breath. Listen to the line, if anyone is in Christ. There is a new creation. The old is gone. The new has come. Pause. Inhale the thought. Exhale judgment. Allow the words to move like soft water over a stone. They smooth, not shatter. The courage to begin often looks like a small refusal. A refusal to let yesterday decide tomorrow. A refusal to keep the ledger open as the last word. That refusal does not erase memory. It simply chooses a different next sentence. Choose that new sentence with tenderness. Make the morning plan as concrete as possible. If sleep is thin tonight, set one small reminder on a paper beside the bed. The reminder should be an action, not a verdict. For example, walk for 5 minutes, or write one sentence, or call one name and say nothing more than hello. Keep it gentle. Habits form in quiet repetition. The new thing may not feel revolutionary at first. After many small mornings, the life will tilt. It does not happen in one dramatic sweep. It happens as a slow accumulation of little acts that say yes to the present. Let gratitude have a place in this work. Gratitude is not a demand to be thankful for everything. It is a practice of noticing. Each night, name one small thing that was new or gentle. The object can be minute, a different smell, a new sound, an unexpected smile. These small notes of thanks chart the path of beginning. If resistance appears, treat it as a weather pattern rather than a permanent terrain. A windy day does not mean the climate has changed forever. Sometimes the inner weather forbids motion. Wait for a softer morning. Take one smaller step than planned. The pace respects the rhythm of recovery. There will be missteps. Let them be practice. The hands will fumble the first time. The voice will crack the first time. Return to the small discipline. Breathe. Rest. Try again. A single day is not the measure of a life. A long habit of small tries is. As I close this part of the reading, I offer a small blessing. May the courage to begin find its way into the chest like dawn slips into a room. May small choices feel less weighty and more like invitations. May mercy greet every clumsy. Try and hold it safe. May the promise of being a new creation be a steady light for the next quiet step. Before the next passage, choose one small beginning to imagine. Name it in one clean sentence. Place that sentence on the bedside table in the mind. Let it stay there until morning. Now breathe 3 slow counts. Inhale, readiness. Exhale, easing. The night holds the new thing tenderly. The next day will be its first witness. I lower my voice another fraction. The lamp narrows into a small pool. The house leans in with me. My hand rests on the open page. The book is quiet with age. The paper is familiar. Tonight I bring a single promise to the bedside. Breathe with me now. Inhale for 3 slow counts. Hold for the smallest moment. Exhale for 5. The out-breath stretches the space between thoughts. The shoulders fall a little more. The jaw softens. The belly rises and falls like a gentle tide. Let the breath be the metronome for this hour. I read from a passage that has comforted many nights. It says that he leaves his peace with us. The peace is not the sort the world hands out. It does not depend on circumstances. It is steadier than simple quiet. Hear that difference in the ear like a soft bell. The promise is present and immediate. Imagine now a cloak made not of cloth, but of quiet. It is woven from morning light, and childhood lullabies. The threads are slow and durable. The cloak is large enough to fall over both shoulders and to reach the knees. Picture it, resting across the chest like a soft mantle. Feel the weight of it. Not heavy, but steady. The weight is a kindness. Place one thin worry into the center of that cloak. Make it a small thing for now. A single name, a single task, a small fear about tomorrow. Fold the cloak gently over it. The worry no longer sits exposed. It is gathered into the warmth. The cloak does not demand explanation. It only receives. Let the image deepen. The cloak smells faintly of earth and rain. It carries an ease like a quiet room where someone waits by the window. The fabric breathes. It breathes with the same rhythm as your chest. Each inhale lifts the edge. Each exhale settles it more firmly. The cloak is not a costume. It is a presence that keeps vigil. This peace is not a removal of storms. The winds may still blow. The rain may still speak on the roof. The cloak acts like a shelter. It steadies the shoulders and keeps the heart from flinching at every gust. Inside the shelter, counting returns to a gentle measure. Inside, the breath lengthens. Inside, small courage can regather. Now, picture hands large and patient, drawing the cloak up around the neck. The motion is careful. No hurry. The hands do not rush the clasp. They simply wrap and hold. The palms meet at the front and leave a warmth that lingers. That warmth moves down through the collarbone to the ribs. The heart softens by degrees. If the mind protests with reasons and lists, welcome them briefly. Let them come like passers-by at a quiet gate. Do not invite them to stay. Offer them a single sentence. This night I rest. Then return the attention to the breathing and to the weight of the cloak. The gate remains closed until morning opens it again. There is a hush that follows this kind of watching. It is not a loud silence. It is a tender narrowing of sound. The muscles that once held a guard begin to loosen. The face smooths. The eyes, even behind closed lids, cease their searching. Peace arrives as a companion that sits without fuss. I speak now a short cadence to anchor that image. Breathe in the word peace. Breathe out mercy. Do this 3 times. Let the inner ear remember the rhythm. Each pairing of words is a small stitch in the cloak. Each stitch holds a fragment of hope. This peace is beyond what applause can give. It is also beyond the shallow lull of distraction. The world promises calm by removing problems. This promise places steadiness into the midst of them. It says that trouble does not have the final voice. That steadiness is an orientation more than a shield. Tonight, I fold into the reading a small permission. You do not have to solve every worry before sleep. Nothing in this hour requires heroic energy. The heart is allowed to be tired. The mind is allowed to be soft. Mercy is given precisely to the places that cannot fix themselves by sheer will. If there is guilt, picture it as a small stone. Lay it on the inside pocket of the cloak. Do not try to scrub or to analyze it now. Let it rest in the pocket under the watchful hand of the presence. The stone does not dissolve immediately. It loses some of its sharpness because it is no longer held in the open palm. If there is fear, breathe into it gently. Give it a name, the way a child names an animal in the dark. One word is enough. Once named, fold it into the cloak as well. The cloak is large. It has room for many things. Room does not mean forgetting. Room means allowing the chest to expand again. Listen to the way the promise I read sits in the room. The words are soft. They land like small lanterns along a path. The lanterns do not make the path vanish. They show where to put the next foot. Let the presence be a lantern that accompanies you rather than one that commands the way. Close the hands if it feels natural. Lay them across the belly or over the heart. Feel the little rise and fall beneath them. Let that motion be proof that life persists through rest. Trust this slow continuity. Trust that being upheld is not the same as never hurting. It is the steadiness that remains while hurt exists. There is a sweet practice to try that steadies the nights. When thoughts race, picture a river at dusk. The surface is a sheet of glass, touched by moonlight. Drop a single leaf into that river. Watch the leaf glide. Turn and move away. Do not follow it with frantic interest. Let the glance be gentle. Return to the cloak. Return to the breath. The river keeps the leaf. The night keeps the watch. Now, I read quietly the essence of the promise again. Not to repeat, but to hold it nearer. He leaves peace and gives it freely. The voice is slow, and even between phrases there is a long pause. Let the pause do its work. Let the pause be like letting a warm cup settle on a table. The cup holds heat simply by being still. Imagine that heat soaking from the collarbones down. Imagine it pooling at the center of the chest, like a small pool of light. The pool does not glare. It exists as a place of gentle warmth, where thoughts can land and not shatter. Rest settles there. If tears come, let them fall. Tears are quiet labour. They do not upset the peace. They pass through it like streams through a field. Each wetness makes room. Each drop is part of washing the day into a softer place. The presence under the cloak receives everyone without surprise. If sleep does not come immediately, do not measure progress by hours. Measure it by moments. A single deep breath, a softer joue, a thought left unpursued. Count those small victories. They are the stitches that strengthen the cloak over time. There is a mercy here also for memory. Some nights the past arrives sharp. Let it lay a small bundle into the cloak. Picture the hands closing over it and holding it gentle. The bundle can be carried for a while. It does not have to be carried alone. The presence shares the weight. Practical things help the body accept this invitation. A cool forehead, a loose throw around the legs, a pillow tucked supportively behind the neck. Small adjustments tell the nervous system it is safe to relax. Make one such small change now, if it helps. Hear the voice continue. Slow and plain. The promise is not an argument with pain. It is an assurance that the heart can be steadied within it. The steadiness does not erase trial. It provides a place from which trial does not look as huge. From this place, the breathing is a compass. If tonight's burdens include decisions for tomorrow, name one small next step. Not every plan, not the whole map. One step. Place that small plan inside the cloak as well. Let it rest. Morning will be available for the rest of the map. The night's task is to restore strength, not to finish every route. Listen for the hush in the house. A clock counts while sleeping. The walls hold many quiet voices. The promise I read is another voice among them. It does not compete. It stands steady. Let it be the cadence for a few more breaths. I close the reading for a moment and sit with the lamp. The cloak image lingers. The hands remain imagined at the neck. The breath keeps its slow cycle. The heart learns a new rhythm by repetition. Give the rhythm a little time. A short blessing follows. May this peace wrap you like a warm cloak. May it steady the shoulders and soften the jaw. May it hold your small fears and return them in gentler shape at morning. May mercy sit beside you through the dark and keep watch until the sun lightens the room. If sleep comes before I speak more, let it be welcome. Let the cloak lie over the shoulders. Let the hands remain in imagined warmth. If wakefulness stays, continue to breathe in the steady count. Return to the single word, peace, for a few cycles. Tonight, I will read this promise slowly once more before moving on. The cadence will be soft and unhurried. Let the words be a net for scattered thoughts. Let the net hold them until dawn. Rest in that holding. Trust the promise that is both present and gentle. When I begin to read again, match the breath to the start of each line. Inhale as the sentence begins. Exhale as it finishes. Let the rhythm be steady. Let peace be the cloth that covers the night. The voice is a companion. The lamp is a witness. The cloak is a shelter. Sleep, if it comes, is embraced. If it waits, the guard is calm. Either way, the promise remains. The lamp is small. The room is patient. I keep my voice low. My words come like soft steps. Tonight the turn is toward a quiet courage. It is the courage to be fragile and honest. It is the courage to reach for help. Take a breath with me. Inhale slowly. Hold just a moment. Exhale long. Let the breath teach the pace. Keep it slow. Keep it kind. The body listens when the breath is steady. Vulnerability is often mistaken for failure. That idea sits heavy in many rooms. Yet vulnerability is a brave door. It opens to companionship. It asks for support. It does not demand all answers. It simply asks to be seen. I remember a night where the chest felt thin. Light from the street leaked through curtains in pale strips. The kitchen clock ticked like a careful heartbeat. A list of fears lived on a small scrap of paper. I set it down and felt the weight again. The hands did not want to be empty. The voice inside wanted to fix everything at once. Instead of fixing, I tried a small honesty, a short prayer. One breath, one word. The asking felt strange. The old habit was to gather every worry and carry it until the shoulders ached. That evening I placed one single fear before God. Not a lecture, not a bargaining, just a short request for help. The hardness in the chest softened by a degree. The shoulders loosened. The asking did not make the night vanish. It made space. Psalm 4:6-1 speaks in a way that fits nights like that. It says, simply, that God is a refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. I say that line slowly now. Let it rest. Let it sit at the edge of the breath. The words are not a tool to shame feeling. They are a promise that steadies. Vulnerability opens the hand toward that steadiness. It is not a brittle exposure. It is a small, deliberate lowering of the guard. The lowering requires courage. Courage does not always wear boldness. Often, it arrives as a quiet choice. The choice to say, today, I cannot carry this alone. The choice to whisper help. There are practical ways to practice this at night. I offer them gently, like small lanterns to hold. First, name one thing, not a catalogue. One thing, a single line in the mind. Keep it short. Speak it inwardly. The act of naming is an offering. Naming turns fog into a single stone. When the stone is small enough to hold, it can be placed. Second, place the named thing somewhere in an image. I like the image of a quiet alcove set into a sun-warmed rock. It is sheltered and close. Picture gently setting the named worry on a smooth shelf there. See the rock receive it without surprise. The image is not magic. It is a way to stop carrying the weight by hand. Third, offer a short prayer. Not many words. One soft phrase. It can be as simple, I need you, or Akiet, help me breathe. Speak it once. Let it sit. The prayer is not a test. It is a reaching. It trains the heart to ask. Fourth, if it helps, place a hand over the heart. Feel the rise and fall. Let the palm be an ally. The warmth is a steady reminder that life continues in small tides. The hand does not solve, but it knows how to rest. Fifth, allow tears if they come. Tears do not mark weakness. They mark release. Tears clear the place where rest can enter. The room will not judge. The presence that receives tears is large enough. Seeking God's support is not always a formal prayer at the end of a knotted day. Sometimes it is the quiet habit of returning to one truth. Repeat it in the mind as breath goes in and out. God is present. Help is near. Repeat the line slowly. Breathe in with the beginning. Breathe out as it finishes. Small repetition builds a pattern that the nervous system comes to know. I keep a short practice before sleep. I open the book. But first I wait. The waiting is part of the prayer. I let a single verse stand at the doorway of my attention. I do not try to carry the whole page. One verse can be a lamp. Tonight, it is Psalm 4:6-1. I read it aloud as a soft gift. Let the words fall. Then I breathe and let silence finish the sentence. Vulnerability also looks like asking for help from others. There are hands in many rooms that will steady without reviving the ledger of old hurts. A brief call, a note left on a screen, a neighbor who can sit for 10 quiet minutes. These small acts of asking widen the circle of care. The world becomes less small when a few faithful hands are present. There is no hurry to be brave in a grand way. The brave work is often repeated smallness. Each night, a little asking. Each morning, a small step. Over time, the habit creates the courage needed for larger things. The heart learns that asking is not a last resort. It becomes a first response. When insecurity tries to speak loudly, meet it with a steady truth rather than argument. Say, I am not alone in this. Let the truth sit beside the loud thought. Do not try to beat the fear with a louder fearlessness. Offer a gentle correction. The correction is a presence rather than a triumph. Sometimes seeking help looks like receiving care. I accept a short kindness. I let someone else hold a small burden for a bit. The acceptance is a form of courage. It recognizes that strength is not only in giving, but also in allowing to receive. To receive is to admit need. That admission is honest and brave. If faith feels far on certain nights, begin with the small gestures you know. Light a lamp. Sit with the book. Say one verse aloud. The motion of these things steadies the hands and heart. The actions speak when belief feels thin. Ritual does not demand certainty. It invites presence. There will be nights when the asking is harder than expected. The mind resists with old scripts. You must do this alone. Others will not understand. These are worn tracks. Walk a different path for one night. Choose a new script. I am not expected to carry this alone. Repeat it slowly. Let the new sentence become a small truth. Vulnerability can also be a quiet forgiveness toward oneself. For the inability to fix everything, the night can be a place to rest failure without amplifying it. Offer a simple sentence. I tried my best in what I could do. Place that sentence on the table and leave it there. The rest of the world can wait until morning. Sometimes seeking God's support is a waiting without answers. It feels like sitting by a window and watching the rain. No immediate solution arrives, yet presence steadies. The body stops quivering at every imagined problem. The mind learns to trust a companion who stays through the dark. This waiting is not passive. It is a faithful endurance that lets healing take its time. There is a tender way to close the night in this posture. Name the single thing again. Offer it in a short breath. Let the hands rest. Picture the Psalm's promise like a quiet rock below the feet. The rock does not remove the waves. It keeps the ground from giving way. I will read Psalm 4:6-1 slowly now. Not as a lecture, but as a soft hand. Let each phrase have room. Let the silence between the words be a place to breathe. Here God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Pause. Breathe. Let the line rest. If sleep arrives, let the words drift into dreams. If wakefulness remains, return to the single breath and the single line. Repeat it gently as the world breathes on. The practice is small. Its power is in repetition and in honest asking. A short blessing follows. May the courage to be open find a home in the chest. May help be near in the small hours. May strength come not as a demand to be perfect, but as a quiet hand that holds. Rest with that. Place the hand on the heart, if it helps. Feel the slow rise and fall. Breathe in peace. Breathe out the tightness that is possible to release tonight. If one more step feels right, send a single, quiet request into the dark, be near. The phrase is simple. It is enough. I close the page and let the lamp glow. The room keeps its slow rhythm. The night holds what was given. Vulnerability has been embraced. Help has been sought. The rest that follows is not a prize. It is a gift already offered. Sleep in that gift when it comes. I will keep the light dim and read on when morning asks for more. The lamp is steady. The page lies open. I sit and listen to the quiet house. Tonight I bring a small, plain story about seeing help arrive in a way that cannot be explained away by chance. The story is gentle. It is meant to be a soft lantern, not a loud trumpet. Breathe with me a few slow counts. Inhale for 3. Hold for the smallest moment. Exhale for 5. Let the rhythm be a slow sea. The breath helps the memory land without startling. Once, not long ago, a friend called in the thin hours of a Tuesday. The voice was small. The news sounded like a heavy rock dropped on a table. A diagnosis had come. Tests had drawn close lines that doctors spoke about with careful distance. Hope felt like a word used far away from reality. There was no grand plan then. There was a short, honest prayer, offered in a hand, folded on a kitchen counter. No long speeches, no bargaining. Only a single sentence that carried the whole weight. The asking was private and simple. The posture of the heart was plain. Days move in a new shape when a door opens like that. Sleepless hours come more often. The mind rehearses worst-case scenes. The body learns to live with a steady, low alarm. Each morning is a negotiation. Each night is a place of small vigilance. The answer comes quietly. It is not a thunderclap. It is not a sign in the sky. It is a change in the weight of a paper test result. A margin tilts from red to neutral. The doctors speak in softer tones. The room seems to hold its breath differently. The word remission is not a promise of eternity. It is a doorway that had been closed and now stands ajar. I remember the moment like a small lamp placed on a table. The phone lights up. The message reads like plain daylight. Relief is not an eruption of joy. It is a slow, steadying tide. Shoulders drop. Tears come. Quiet and private. The heart learns how to soften after being hard for so long. In that season, the phrase from Mark comes to hand. With faith, Jesus says, whatever we ask in prayer, the line is not a magic formula. It does not promise that every need will be erased. It promises that prayer is a place of encounter. It promises that asking matters. It promises that the heart can place a request and not be ignored. I read that verse aloud at the bedside. Sometimes I do not use it to prove a point. I use it as a lantern for the small miles we walk in the dark. The verse invites the posture of trust. It asks only that faith be present in the simple act of asking. The line does not force a particular outcome. It opens a space where help can enter. Witnessing a small miracle often has 2 parts. One part is the event itself. The other part is the recognition. The same season that held the test and the phone also held more ordinary places of care. A neighbor offered soup. A friend sat in silence by the window. A chorus of small mercies did what the word mercy does best. They kept company, while the heart learned to hope again. Answered prayer sometimes arrives through people. It looks like hands that show up when help is needed. It looks like a driver who goes the extra mile to a late appointment. It looks like a nurse who stays a few moments longer. Not out of duty, but out of felt kindness. These small arrivals are often the shape of divine care. There are other times when the miracle looks like a shift in the smallest things. A child who has not slept for nights breathes a longer breath. A plant in a pot that seemed finished sends an unexpected green shoot. A voice that had been hoarse recovers in a single morning. These tiny reversals do not make grand headlines. They make room in the heart to rest. I keep a small practice. When wonders like this happen, I name the change without over-explaining it. I say thanks in a low voice, and then I sleep. The act of naming allows the gratitude to be real instead of rushed. Gratitude lets the mind close for a night without pretending the world is now perfect. It holds reality softly and says this is mercy. Faith is not a ledger where the good are counted and the bad are punished. Faith is a soft, steady hand that reaches into the bustle of days. It is the willingness to place needs in the hands of someone larger. The act of placing is itself a small miracle. It lightens a chest that has been carrying too much. I speak this tenderness into the room because listening minds need small proof. Proof can be a slow accumulation. Many small answered prayers layered over time build a testimony that no single event needs to bear alone. The habit of remembering these small answers becomes a book of mercy that the heart can open on stormy nights. There are seasons when doubt falls like rain. The mind asks hard questions. The intellect points to probability and chance. All of that is part of the human work. The invitation of faith is quieter. It asks simply whether the heart will try again to place one small request on the altar of prayer. It asks for a first small step. Sometimes the request is practical. A safe parking spot. A friend's visit. A call back that means everything. Sometimes it is less tidy. A request for courage. For peace. For the ability to sit still and hold another's hand through a long night. The variety of needs matters less than the act of bringing them in faith. An old tale that has nothing to do with drama helps here. Once a small town had a clock tower that stopped. The villagers tried all practical fixes. Nothing worked. Finally, someone knelt and asked aloud for help. The next day the clock ticked again. The story is not about the mechanism. It is about the way asking summons attention and care. People show up. Help arrives. The clock returns to its work. When I read Mark 1:1-4 at the bedside, I do so with the gentleness of a person who has seen small doors open. The words are a reminder that prayer invites response. The promise is not a demand for instant triumph. It is a steady assurance that asking is not wasted breath. If fear keeps the mind awake, try a small exercise. Choose one modest request. Keep it short. Picture a small boat on a river. Place the request on the boat. Watch the current carry it. Do not try to chase the boat. Do not replay every worry. Let one small thing travel. Return to your breath. Let sleep come on the back of that solitary movement. When a miracle appears, be careful with the response. Do not let spectacle swallow the quiet. Celebrate softly. Let the moment be enough without becoming a quest for proofs. The heart that seeks wonders often loses the wonder of small kindnesses. The practice of grateful quiet keeps perspective kindly. There is another kind of witness that feels tender. It is the witness to answered prayer that arrives through changed behavior. A person forgives after years of hurt. A family dinner returns after long estrangement. The right word is spoken at the right time. These recoveries are not sudden for everyone, but they are sudden enough to be seen. They are stitches sewn in plain view. When such things happen, I read a short passage from the scriptures. The words fit like a calm bandage. They do not erase scars. They cover them with gentleness and a reminder that redemption is often slow and beautiful. The reading is slow. The pauses long. Let each phrase land and breathe. Do not rush a miracle into a sermon. Tonight, before the next passage, take a moment to remember a small answer you have seen. It need not be dramatic. It may be a returned phone call, a mended stool, a friend who shows up. Hold that memory like a warm coin in the palm of the mind. Turn it over and feel its edges. Let the gratitude come without obligation. If a concrete memory does not come, imagine a tiny scene of help. A stranger handing over an umbrella. A neighbor leaving bread at the doorstep. A quiet presence sitting beside a hospital bed. The imagination is not a substitute for real events. It trains the heart to notice mercy when it arrives. Faith requires patience. The miracle is not always immediate. Sometimes the waiting is the work. The weeks that follow a pleading can be full of small movements that finally form into a bigger shift. Pay attention to the small movements. They are often the first visible signs of a broader answer. A small ritual helps here. Each night this week, name one small thing to thank God for. It can be as simple as a hot cup at the right hour. Make the acknowledgement slow and real. The practice trains the mind to look for mercy, even in small corners. Over time, the practice reshapes perception. If worry returns, return the memory of the answered prayer to the bedside. Let it stand there like a lamp. Do not use it to argue with every doubt. Use it to steady the breath. Allow the heart to remember that help has come before and may come again in ways both expected and strange. I will read now a short line from Mark that holds this promise. The words are simple. They speak of asking with faith and receiving. Hear them as a small lantern, not a rule. The voice is slow. The pauses are long. Let the sound be a companion rather than a classroom. After the reading, place one small request once more on the imagined boat. Do not make a list. Choose one thing. Watch it go. Let the rest wait for morning. Sleep is also part of faith. Rest is a response. It trusts the night to hold what cannot be solved by waking hands. A closing blessing follows. May the memory of small answers keep your heart steady tonight. May the quiet miracles you have witnessed be a lamp in the dark. May faith be a gentle posture rather than pressure. May mercy arrive in ordinary forms and make room for peace. If sleep comes before I read the next passage, let the quiet work. If wakefulness stays, keep the chosen memory close and breathe slowly for a few more counts. Inhale with the thought of thanks. Exhale with the thought of trust. The night is not empty. It is a place where little wonders find their way. Shasan, confidence in God's promises. I lower the lamp a little more. The light makes a small circle on the page. My hands rest lightly on the Bible. My voice seeks the slowest pace it knows. Tonight I bring a promise to the bedside. The promise is steady. It does not hurry. Breathe with me. Inhale 2 slow counts. Hold for a moment. Exhale to 4. Let the out-breath be a quiet release. The body follows the rhythm. The chest eases. There is a line I return to often. I speak it tonight the way one hands another a warm cup. And we know that in all things God works for the good for those who love Him. Romans 8:2-8 sits like a calm stone. It does not pretend storms vanish. It promises a direction through them. Hear it as presence, not as argument. This promise is not a removal of hardship. It is a promise about meaning. It says that suffering is held within care. The phrase steadies. If the mind raises a long list of what went wrong today, let the verse stand beside that list like a lamp. It does not sweep the list away. It simply shows another way to see the night. I remember a thin season. Plans that had been carefully made slipped like maps catching rain. A job changed suddenly. A friend moved away. Sleep retreated for many nights. The chest kept a small constantage. On a night like that, repeating Romans 8:2-8 becomes a discipline. It is a pattern I put my breath on. Inhale the first half. Exhale the second. The words settle in rhythm. There is a story that comes with that season. A small, unexpected kindness arrived when the days were grey. A neighbour left a loaf of bread on the door. The gesture was ordinary and exact. It did not fix the job or the moving. It changed the shape of one evening. It turned a night that could have been nothing but worry into a night that contained a soft human care. The change was small. It was also real. This is what the promise feels like in practice. Things do not always make sense at once. A long time may pass before a pattern appears. But small mercies stack. They build a quiet architecture under the days. The Bible does not offer only abstract comfort. It shows a way to trust that the small moments are not wasted. If doubt sits in the chest, name it once. Say, in the quiet, I am afraid that this will not turn out well. Place that simple sentence on the pillow beside you. Then turn and place the lamp of the promise next to it. Watch the two sit together. Do not expect the lamp to shout down the fear. Expect only that it will shine somewhere the fear cannot fully occupy. Practice helps. Choose one small thing that feels tangled tonight. A single worry about tomorrow. A short fear about a health result. Hold it in the mind for one breath. Then offer it in 8 words or fewer. Keep the offering brief. The act of naming and handing overtrains the hands and heart. It is not theatrical. It is gentle and true. I read the verse aloud slowly now. Let each syllable have room. Let the pause after each phrase be wide. The sound is a small anchor. If sleep comes in the middle, let the verse roll into dreams. If wakefulness lingers, return to the line in the dark a few times. The repetition is a kind of prayer. It is not a test nor a bargain. It is a steady placing. There are nights when the promise feels distant because hurt is too heavy. That is honest. The feeling is not a failure of faith. It is a fact of being human. Ebenso, small things can make a difference. A hand resting lightly on the chest. A warm drink taken slowly. A short note written to a friend. These acts are the texture of God's working in ordinary life. They are often the ways the promise lives. Try this for a moment. Picture a small boat on a wide river. Put the single worry on the boat. Watch the current. Take the boat. Do not chase it. Let it move. The act is symbolic. Yes. But the practice teaches the hands to be less clenched. It teaches the chest how to let go for a while. If memory returns to past nights when the promise seemed to fail, do not sharpen that memory now. Look at it like a photograph in a drawer. Acknowledge it. Then close the drawer and place the verse on top. The placement is not denial. It is choosing which voice to listen to at this hour. This promise invites patience. It is not a push for quick fixes. It is a companion for the slow working of healing and repair. Some things are curved like roads. They take time to return to a good place. Trust is the walking. The verse is the map, held in a steady hand. I will read a short passage now that grows from the same trust. Listen for the cadence. Let it match the breath. Let it be soft. Let it be sure. The words are not heavy. They are meant to be a soft light for the next steps of the night. 14. God's faithfulness in small things. The night favors small attention. My voice moves as if it is placing objects on a table. One at a time. Tonight I speak of faithfulness, not grand demonstration, not loud rescue. A faithful presence that keeps coming in the ordinary ways. Faithfulness often looks like routine. It arrives as a neighbor's check-in call. It looks like a regular meal left on a doorstep. It sounds like a voice that rings at the same hour each week. That steady care is a kind of miracle. It does not blaze. It endures. It quietly proves itself. A memory sits lightly now. Winters ago, a friend lived far away and sent a card every month. The cards were small and never long. Each one said only an ordinary thing, thinking of you. Hope you are warm. A note about a bird at the feeder. Over months, those cards turned into a lifeline. On bad days, a drawer of cards opened when the breath felt thin. The voice in the paper felt immediate. Then, the habit of showing up became proof that someone kept watch. God's faithfulness often takes similar shapes. It shows up as steady presence, not sudden fireworks. The scriptures speak of God's faithfulness like an unending river. It does not always roar. Sometimes it flows soft and near. These quiet currents keep life alive in ways that are not always visible at first. I keep a small practice for noticing this type of faithfulness. Each evening I name one faithful thing I saw that day. Not more than one. A tiny thing is enough. A friend who remembered my name. A bus that arrived on time. A child's laugh at the right second. Write it down in a small notebook kept by the bed. Over weeks, The pages fill with ordinary kindnesses. Later, on a harder night, read the pages. The list becomes evidence. If the heart resists faithfulness because of big disappointments, allow that resistance room. Do not force the rush of trust. Begin with a single, small recognition. Notice one consistent kindness. Let it rest a while. The slow return to trust is not a failure. It is a careful recovery. There is a line that helps me keep perspective. It says that God's mercies are new every morning. The phrase is not a denial of sorrow. It is an invitation to begin again without being worn out by yesterday. Morning is not just time. It is a chance to notice grace anew. Practice this now. Breathe slowly. Think of one small faithful thing from today and place it in your mind as if on a shelf. When the mind wants to drift into long arguments, visit the shelf. Let that one item sit there like a warm cup. The action is quiet. The habit is strong. Faithfulness also asks for a patient heart. Sometimes the faithful answer we expect arrives while we sleep. Sometimes it comes weeks later. The long arc of steadiness can be hard to see in the short hours of the night. The work here is to trust the pattern rather than demand immediate proofs. If doubt nags, try a small prayer. Not many words. A simple phrase is enough. Thank you for the steady things. Repeat it once and sit with the silence that follows. That silence is a place of listening. The listening trains the ears to hear the small arrivals. There is mercy in ordinary constancy. A doctor who calls back with care. A friend who visits without a checklist. A spouse who learns a small new kindness. These are not spectacular. They are practical. They make rooms safe. They mend nights that otherwise would be thin. I read slowly now, a short passage that leans on this truth. Let the cadence match the breath. Let the pauses be long. The words are small lamps. They do not promise fireworks. They promise presence. Before I close this part of the night, do one gentle thing. Place a hand over the heart. Feel the rhythm beneath. Whisper one line of thanks for a faithful thing you have seen. Keep it brief. Let the whisper be a small bead on a string. This string grows with time. It becomes a chain that steadies the chest. The lamp will dim in a moment. The book will rest on my lap. The presence will remain. If sleep comes, let these thoughts soften the mind until dream arrives. If wakefulness holds, return to the breath and the single remembered kindness. This section ends with an invitation rather than a demand. Sleep is not required to prove trust. A single small recognition of faithfulness is enough for tonight. Place that recognition gently beside the pillow. Let the night keep it. In the morning, let it be the first thing that the eyes remember. The small, faithful things often shape the largest changes. Rest now. The present stays. 14. Unfailing commitment to us. The lamp softens. The room breathes with low sound. I keep my voice slow and steady. Tonight I bring a thought that rests at the center of many quiet hours. It is simple. It is deep. It asks nothing dramatic. It asks only to be believed in small ways. God's love does not wait for perfection. It does not ask for a spotless record before it comes near. The love is present in the messy places. It touches the hands that tremble. It meets the breath that hitches. It sits beside the failures and does not tally them as final verdicts. I read a short line from 1 John in a quiet way. The line lays the truth plainly. God's love appeared among us by giving his Son to be the atoning sacrifice for our sins. Say that with me in your mind. Hear it not as a complicated doctrine, but as a plain fact. The love comes into the mess. It enters our broken rooms and brings a steady warmth. That image comforts me. Imagine a small lamp placed in a dark kitchen. The light does not sweep the night entirely. It only brightens a circle. Within that circle, hands can find knobs and buttons again. They can mend a torn sleeve. They can sort crumbs from the table. The lamp does not pretend the whole house is lit. It offers what is needed for this step. The love of God is like that lamp. It meets the immediate need with the gentle work of presence. When I speak these lines at the bedside, I do not ask for an argument. I tell a story. Once, in a thin season, my own plans unraveled. Mistakes were evident. Pride had been wounded. The chest felt heavy with the freight of errors made and words said poorly. In that weight, a neighbor came with a small kindness. Nod à lecture, not a tidy solution. A loaf of bread, a cup of tea, a steady hour of listening. Those ordinary things looked like the love I had read about. They felt like a demonstration that someone cared, even when I was less than whole. This is how God's commitment often arrives. It moves through human hands. It shows up as patience, as a willingness to stay, as small acts that keep appearing over time, the gift of a steady friend, the nurse who prepares a bed without hurry, the child who reaches for a parent in the night. These are ordinary ways that the divine love manifests. The presence is not flashy. It is faithful. I am careful with language here. Faith is not a magic wand. It does not erase consequence. It does not excuse harm. It does something quieter and stronger. It gives a way forward. It absorbs the weight and makes space to breathe. It takes the broken pieces and holds them while the work of mending begins. Imagine again a small boat on a slow river at dusk. Into that boat you place a single failure, or a regret, or a name you cannot forget. It is not an instant removal. The boat does not vanish. It travels, supported by a current you did not make. The boat is watched. Someone holds the other end of the rope on shore. The motion is real. The burden moves. That is the picture I carry when I read about atonement. The action is a present. Steady care that accompanies weakness without shame. There are nights when doubt presses in the throat. Question pilote. Why this? Why now? Why me? Those questions are not punished by the promise of love. They are heard. The love I read about is patient with even the hardest questions. It does not demand that we tidy our doubts first. Bring them. Place them in a small hand. The hand does not judge the mess. It simply holds. We do not have to be brave in a way that exhausts us. Small bravery is enough. The small bravery of asking for help. The small bravery of admitting a single fault. the small bravery of letting someone else carry a corner of the grief for a while. The book I hold to you tonight does not ask for grand confessions. It asks for honest, small steps. A passage like 1 John 4:9-10 feels like a quiet promise because it gives a picture rather than a test. God's love was shown when the Son was given. That giving is an atonement. It is an act that enters the human story where wounds are raw. The atonement is not an abstract force. It is a way of showing up. When read at the bedside, the words are a gentle reminder that what lies beneath the chest is seen and cared for. I think about how this changes ordinary nights. When regret comes and the mind replays a harsh line spoken in anger, the memory need not remain a chain. I imagine placing that memory on a small table and then opening the window. The evening air takes some of the edges. The love that has been shown is not passive. It works like a door that lets fresh air in. The act of handing over is not a single dramatic event. It is a practice repeated with a soft persistence. There is mercy in repetition. The first time a wound is offered, it may seem clumsy. The fingers may fumble. The second time, the hands are steadier. Over weeks, the habit of placing things gently into the care of love changes the posture of the heart. The chest softens. Sleep finds a foothold. Let me offer a small exercise while you rest here. Place your hand over the place where the heart keeps time. Feel the warmth of your palm. Think of one small imperfection you carry tonight. Name it once in the mind. Do not analyze. Do not argue. Just name it. Picture that named thing as a pebble. With an easy breath, imagine setting the pebble into an open palm that is steady and warm. See the hand close around it. Not with force, but with refusal to let shame be the only holder of that weight. Hold that image for 3 slow breaths. Each breath is a small witness that the weight has been seen and is now held by something larger than yourself. If the breath comes shallow at first, do not worry. Breathe anyway. The act of breathing is a sign of trust in the small things. One more image may help. Picture a long lamp-lit table. On this table are many small cups. Each cup represents a worry, a failure, an ache. Bring one cup to the center. Do not pile everything at once. The one cup is enough for now. Let the presence that has been shown take the cup. The cup remains but is no longer clutched. The fingers relax around the handle. I read these words because people bring them into rooms where tears are common. The promise that God's love is committed to us even in our imperfections is not a sermon. It is a steady notice. The notice reduces the pressure to perform. It allows the weary to rest. It allows the heart to be honest without fear of being thrown away. Tonight, receive this as an offered truth rather than a demand. The love that has been shown does not keep a ledger in the dark. It keeps a hand ready. The atoning act that the Scripture speaks of is a particular kind of attention. It is commitment enacted. It is the willingness to join the human story where it is frayed and hand the frayed end, the thread that will mend it. Be gentle with yourself as you let these thoughts settle. If sleep comes, let the promise find its place in dreams. If wakefulness lingers, return to the simple images, the boat, the lamp, the steady hand, and breathe with them until the chest grows quiet. Shiwu. Closing. The pages rest. The lamp is kinder now. My voice slows to its softest measure. Before I close the book tonight, I offer a short blessing and a small charge. Place your hand over your heart once more. Feel the breath like a tide. The presence that is faithful keeps watch. It comes into the imperfect places. It does not wait for perfection. It offers steady care, a brief blessing, slowly spoken in the mind. May the love that gave itself meet your weakness tonight. May mercy sit beside your faults, like a friend who will not leave. May hope find a place in the chest to rest and grow. If there is a single small thing to do before sleep, choose it now. Put one worry on a piece of paper. Write a single line. Fold it and place it by the lamp. The act is small. It is real. It signals the heart's willingness to trust for a night. I will read again in the mornings that follow, and on another night when you need the quiet voice. This habit is not an obligation. It is an offering. If the eyes close before the reading ends, let sleep be welcome. If they stay open, stay gentle with the attention, and return to the images that comforted you. The house outside keeps its slow sounds. The lamp keeps its warm pool. The presence I read of is steady and faithful. It will keep the watch while you sleep. Rest in that keeping. Let the breath lengthen. Let the heart yield to the care that has been shown. Good night. I will be here again, with the book and the lamp, to read, to sit, and to hold this steady space with you. Sleep in the faithful love that does not keep score, but keeps company. I sit with the Bible one last time. My fingers rest on the page. The reading slows to a hush. My voice becomes a pillow of sound. Tonight ends here with a prayer. I offer a blessing for comfort, for peace, and for a deep, restoring sleep. I invite a breath now. Inhale slowly. Hold. Exhale longer. Let the breath be the measure. Let the body find that pace. Let the mind follow. Father, I come with quiet hands. I do not bring arguments. I bring trust. Thank you for the day that passed. Thank you for help that arrived in small ways. Thank you for doors that opened and for hands that stayed. Thank you for mercy that arrived when the chest felt tight. Be near now. Do not let distance be the answer to our smallness. Walk beside the bed like a watchful friend. Sit by the window of the heart and do not leave. Let the presence here be a steady thing, not a sudden show. Let it be a slow warmth that stays through the night. Comfort any that carry ache. Ease the places that ache in the body. Breathe kindness into muscles that have been tense for too long. Soften the jaw. Still the hands that fidget. Let the heartbeat slow to a gentle tide. Where pain is sharp, send a small relief. Where rest will not come, send a patience that gathers sleep like a net. Bring peace to troubled thoughts. When the mind runs ahead into lists and what-ifs, place a quiet hand on that racing voice. Teach the thoughts a new rhythm. Do not ask them to stop altogether. Teach them to come in measured steps. Let worry be heard, and then put gently down. Replace the hurried stories with a single steady truth, not alone. Watch over those who feel unsafe. Guard the room and the routes that lead from it. Keep the thresholds with a watch that does not sleep. Let no harm find the path. If a mind imagines danger, show another path, lit by steady reason and calm. Let a sense of protected stillness settle like a soft cover over the house. Hold the troubling memories with tenderness. Do not demand that they vanish tonight. Receive them as you receive a visitor who is weary and needs a seat. Offer them a cup and a place to rest. Let them be spoken to in small phrases, and then set aside. Memory need not become an accusation. Place it within care. Comfort the grieving, for those whose names feel lost, whose faces return like echoes. Be a presence that listens and stays. Let grief move. Let tears come without shame, where loss has hollowed a place. Lay a warm hand there. Let that warmth remain while slow healing works beneath the surface. Grant sleep that repairs. Let the body enter the gentle architecture of rest. Let muscles rebuild. Nerves quiet, and cells turn toward repair. Let dreams be soft. If dreams bring images, let them speak in kind tones. If a mind needs quiet dreams, grant long stretches of deep, wordless rest. If waking must come at night for care or work, steady the hands and calm the breath between those moments. When morning arrives, let it bring clean light, not brightness that blinds, a light that invites, a dawn that feels like new paper laid on a table. Fill the waking hours with a small courage. Let the first breath of the day be uncomplicated and hopeful. Give a single clear next step for the day. Gift a tiny piece of forward motion that is possible and kind. Bless families and rooms where sleep is shared. Keep the little ones and the elders under a patient watch. If someone wakes afraid, send a steady voice into the room. Let hands find one another without fuss. Let the comfort be practical and true, an extra blanket, a quiet story. Fingers that braid into another hand. Let the household breathe as one slow creature. Be present for those who suffer in secret, for aches that are unseen, for worries that are named only once and then tucked away. Let those hidden burdens meet an unseen kindness. Let the night be a safe place, to be small and to be held. Teach the heart how to open to care without fear. I pray for minds tangled with regret. Give a way to mend without erasing the past. Teach small repair. Show how to make amends in short steps. Let silence be a place to breathe, not a place to doom oneself. Replace self-castigation with a clearer path to change. Let new actions soften the old loops. Bring courage to those facing tomorrow's decisions. When choice feels heavy, lift the weight just enough so a hand can turn a small page. Remove paralysis with a simple next step. Give clarity where fog feels thick. If faith falters, place beside it a small proof of mercy that was seen before. Let memory of kindness restore hope. Bless the ones who watch beside others, those who sit in hospitals or in the dim rooms of worry. Give them stamina. Send rest into their brief moments of respite. Let them find nourishment in short sips. Give words when needed, and silence when that is what heals. Reward patience with small, clear signs that their labor matters. Give peace to hands that once hurt, where words were sharp and left marks. Let a healing touch appear. Help to build bridges of small things. Teach forgiveness as a sequence of tiny acts. Let restoration be patient. Let reconciliation come in steps that do not demand grand proof. For those who ask and fear that prayer is empty, show the quiet work that follows a request. Do not make the answer into fireworks. Make it into daily bread, a returned call, a nurse who listens, a neighbor who brings soup. Shape small mercies into clear places of rest, so faith grows by seeing and not only by hoping. Surround the sleeping with inspired peace. Not a peace that wipes away life, a peace that steadies the hand you wake with, a peace that puts a calm weight on the chest. Let that peace align the breath with gentle rhythm. Let each inhale bring a soft assurance. Let every exhale release a little more of the day. When wakefulness comes in the morning light, replace the rush with a moment that centers. Let the first thought not be a frantic checklist. Give a line of hope that fits in a pocket. Let gratitude arrive in a small note, a brief thanks that does not pretend everything is solved, but that acknowledges a goodness right here. Guide those who rise in pain. Make the first steps less sharp. Provide the right medical hands, the correct call, the gentle adjustments that make moving possible. Make days holdable. For those who serve the sick, give clarity and care. Reward their labor with small visible signs of improvement. Teach the heart to remember that rest itself is holy, not weak, not idle. Rest is a necessary part of living. Bless the decision to sleep as an act of wisdom. Let the urge to prove worth by burning hours fall away. Replace it with the knowledge that rest makes tomorrow possible. Keep safe those who travel at night. Roads, airports, trains. Make the ways watchful. Send drivers and pilots steady hands. Guide navigation. Let small prayers for safety be answered in the quiet competence of those who steer the journeys. Bless differences of belief around the bedside. Let words be gentle. Let presence be the language that surpasses argument. No need for long theologies in this hour. Mercy and care are enough. Let the bedside be a room of welcome, where people meet with gentleness more than proof. If any feel far from God, do not force sudden closeness. Offer a patient, tender waiting. Let curiosity be returned slowly. If trust feels brittle, help it grow strand by strand. Show evidence in small, faithful things rather than loud declarations. Let patient love be the teacher. Now, grant rest for tonight. Wrap the sleeping hours in watchful care. Keep dreams soft. Or let them be absent and full silence. Let the body be repaired. Let the mind be eased. Let the waking be gentle and full of promise. I close with a short blessing. It is simple and sure. May comfort find every tired place. May peace come and settle like morning dew. May your sleep be undisturbed and deep. May the night hold you while healing happens. May a quiet courage greet you at waking. May mercy meet your mistakes and help you take one small next step. May protective care circle your home. May gentle watches keep the doors and windows safe. May those you love be guarded. May dreams be restful and restorative. May morning bring renewed breath and a clear first step. Now breathe in one long, slow count. Hold. Breathe out. Let the space that opens be enough for this night. I rest, the Bible closed on my lap. My hand lingers a moment on the cover. The voice lowers further. I will not keep the light on forever. When the eyes close, the presence remains. When the mind wakes, the blessing will still be true. Amen. Sleep now. I will be here again with the book and the same slow voice when the next night asks for calm. Good night.